Chapter 156. There's actually a great evil demon inside. Liu grinned, a trace of seriousness flashing through her eyes. We'll deal with whatever comes our way. Let's go take a look. Mengsheng exhaled and spoke slowly. After they had rested, they continued to walk deeper into the ancient bronze path. Very quickly, they arrived at a large hall that was even more spacious than before. Everyone immediately looked at the opposite side of the hall. Opposite the hall, in front of the tightly shut bronze door, stood a 6-meter-tall, bloodthirsty demon. His right leg was bound by a black gold chain, and he held a blood-colored sword in his hand. After Mengsheng and the others appeared, he raised his head and revealed a sinister smile. It's been 10 million years. Someone actually entered the Blood King's tomb. The Blood King's tomb? Everyone frowned. The Blood King was a king that they had never heard of. They had very little understanding of the ancient era. Weak azure creatures, you've disturbed my 10 million years of slumber. Are you ready to die? With a low roar, wisps of blood-colored light circulated around the giant bloodthirsty demon's body. A thick stench of blood spewed out, covering the entire hall. When Meng Ding and the others sensed that powerful aura, their expressions changed slightly. A peak rank 7 evil demon leader. Boom! Just as their expressions changed, the bronze door behind them suddenly fell, sealing off their path of retreat. Everyone glanced at each other. There's no way out. We can only kill him. Fang Shiji held his sword and shield as he spoke slowly. Whoosh! Roa's legs pushed off the ground, and the wings on his back flapped. The black gold chain on his leg vibrated, and his body charged forward, charging at Mengsheng and the others. Wisps of blood-colored light circulated around the blood-colored sword. Epic-grade origin skill, frenzied blood. Boom! Wisps of blood-colored light swept across the hall as the sword cut through the air, causing the entire bronze hall to tremble. Fortunately, the bronze hall was sturdy enough and wasn't directly destroyed. However, Meng Ding and the others felt an incomparably heavy pressure from an epic-grade origin skill. Fang Shiji growled and took a step forward. He raised the black iron shield in his hand, and rays of bronze light flashed on the shield. The light continued to swirl around him like a vortex. Epic origin skill, vortex shield. Boom! Sword and shield clashed against each other. Origin power shot out violently and shook the entire hall once more. Fang Shiji's wheat-colored face turned slightly pale. His body staggered back a few steps, and blood flowed from the corner of his mouth. Such power! Everyone's pupils shrank. They immediately retreated and began to fight. The blue-robed merman waved his staff, and a stream of water flowed into Fang Shiji's body. Immediately, his face became rosy. Luo Ao raised an eyebrow after forcing Fang Shiji back with one strike. His scarlet eyes turned to look at the merman. A sinister smile appeared on his face. Healers die. His left hand clawed at the merman, and a giant claw that seemed to be condensed from blood rushed towards the merman. Epic-grade origin skill, Scarlet Grip. At this moment, a frost shield blocked in front of the bloody claw. Dong! The frost shield shattered, and the giant claw paused for a moment. The merman turned into a stream of water and disappeared from his spot. In the next moment, he appeared hundreds of meters away. Oof! Luo Ao snorted coldly. He was just about to give chase when Li Lianqing appeared behind him. The two short swords in his hands flickered with an incomparably deep, dark light. Epic-grade origin skill, Gloomy Feast. Streaks of dark light turned into blades, instantly enveloping Luo Ao. When Luo Ao saw this, his expression did not change. He placed his hands in front of him, and layers of blood-colored crystals appeared around him, enveloping him. Epic-grade origin skill, Blood Crystal Shield. Clang, clang, clang. In a short moment, thousands of streaks of sword light landed on the blood crystal shield, and the densely packed sound seemed to merge into one. Even so, the blood crystal shield was not broken. The moment the gloomy feast disappeared, the blood crystal shield around Luo Ao's body exploded, and streaks of blood splattered everywhere. Everyone's expression changed drastically as they tried to block. Li Lianxing, who was the closest, narrowed his eyes as he waved the short swords in his hands. Clang, 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 clang. With each collision, Li Lianxing's body was pushed back a step. At this moment, a blood-colored sword light swept past, slashing at Li Lianxing. Li Lianxing's eyes narrowed as he suddenly exploded into a cloud of black mist. The blood-colored sword light pierced through the black mist. In the next moment, Li Lianxing's body appeared hundreds of meters away. His face was somewhat pale, and there was blood at the corner of his mouth. Following Fang Shiji and Li Lianxing's injuries, the blood-colored glow around Luo Ao's body became even more intense. The bloodthirsty demon's racial innate ability, bloodthirst. Every time they tasted the blood of their enemies, they could obtain greater strength through the blood. Using battle to nurture battle, the more they fought, the stronger they became. Roar! At this moment, a giant flaming dragon suddenly appeared, roaring as it charged at Luo Ao. Epic grade origin skill, Flaming Dragon's Fury. The moment the flaming dragon appeared, the already stuffy hall's temperature rose significantly. Upon seeing this violent flaming dragon, even Luo Ao's expression changed slightly. Boom! The flaming dragon instantly swallowed Luo Ao. A moment later, the flaming dragon dissipated, and Luo Ao's body reappeared. His blood-colored armor had a trace of scorch marks, but even so, his aura did not weaken at all. Luo Ao wiped away the ash marks on his face and grinned, revealing a bloodthirsty smile. Very good. Weak mortals, it's been a long time since I've exercised properly. He twisted his neck, and a series of cracking sound could be heard. In the next moment, Luo Ao once again transformed into a bloody light and charged at the group. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom. Sounds of collisions and explosions rang out continuously. Fang Shiji, Meng Xiong, and the others with strong defensive abilities mainly blocked Luo Ao's origin power attacks, delaying his attacks. The others, on the other hand, continuously launched various attacks at Luo Ao. 7 apertured body fundamentalists were extremely powerful and could even destroy a mountain peak with a single blow. The aftermath of the battle between the two sides became turbulent in the narrow hall. However, although Meng Xiong and the others had close to 10 people, they were still suppressed by Luo Ao. A rank 7 evil demon leader was too powerful. Their powerful evil demon bodies gave them unparalleled physical strength, and their thirst for blood was also nourished by battle. Even if they were injured, the bloodthirsty demon's recovery ability was extremely powerful. As long as the enemy was injured, they could absorb the enemy's life force through the power of blood. In addition, they had an endless supply of epic-grade origin skills. Even though Meng Xiong and the others were not weak among the 7 apertures, they still felt the pressure at this moment. However, they also had their own advantages, and that was that they could use all kinds of medicines, inscriptions, formations, and even mechanical weapons. More than an hour later, boom! Another explosion rang out, and Li Lianxing's body flew backward, spitting out a mouthful of blood. Water surged around the mermaid healer, entering Li Lianxing's body. Li Lianxing's body recovered once again. He somersaulted in the air and slowly landed on the ground. He grinned at the mermaid. Lao Li, thanks. Li Long rolled his eyes. Thanks my ass, I've suffered a huge loss this time. I've almost run out of origin power, spring medicine. It's fine. Fang Shiji licked his lips and looked at Luo Ao, whose armor was shattered and whose injuries were not light. This ruin's origin is not small, so there should be many treasures. When the time comes, we'll just split them. Hearing this, everyone's eyes lit up. Luo Ao looked at the people who were recovering, his expression extremely ugly. He felt extremely sullen. Damn it, if I hadn't been sealed here for tens of millions of years and my strength hadn't fallen, how could I have been injured to this extent by you puny mortals? He felt extremely uncomfortable. So he was a rank 9 evil demon leader. Dealing with this kind of weak body fundamentalist was a matter of a slap. Oomph. The others snorted coldly and charged over again. When dealing with evil demons, they could not be soft-hearted. As long as they were not completely dead, they could not stop. The void power controlled by evil demons of the same rank was too much of a burden for them. Even though they had only been fighting for slightly more than an hour, their souls were already showing signs of being corroded. Add to that the rich blood energy in the ruins. If they did not end the battle quickly, their souls would be corroded and they would become servants of the evil demons. They might even become blood ghosts. Let's end this quickly. Boom, boom, boom. Another series of explosions resounded in the hall. Cracks began to appear on the sturdy metal of the bronze hall. The battle was simply too intense. Soon, a golden slash streaked across the air and beheaded Luo Ao. Purplish-black blood gushed out. Luo Ao's head could not help but let out a resentful roar. I can't accept this. The roar came to an abrupt end. Even the evil demon leader with extremely powerful vitality died soon after his head left his body. Seeing the slowly decaying corpse on the ground, everyone heaved a sigh of relief. Meng Ding put away his battle axe. It's finally over. The others were also panting heavily. In order to deal with Luo Ao, they had used up all their trump cards. Even the various medicines and inscription scrolls they had prepared had been used. Soon, Luo Ao's flesh and blood had completely decayed, leaving behind all sorts of extraordinary materials and origin crystals. Feng Shiji picked up the items and distributed them among the others. Finally, the door behind Luo Ao opened. Behind the door, piles of origin crystals were piled up on the ground, forming a small mountain. Apart from origin crystals, there were also countless extraordinary materials, equipment, and even origin crystals. Through the door, when they saw the items inside, their breathing stopped and then became ragged. They glanced at each other, their eyes filled with excitement. Damn, we're rich. Liu grinned and cried out. The others nodded as well. Feng Shiji sighed and said, Don't be in such a hurry. We don't know if there are any traps inside yet. Let's adjust our state first. The others calmed down when they heard this. After all, they had already excavated many ancient ruins, so they were still relatively calm. Soon, they adjusted their state of mind, picked up their weapons, and entered the door. The room behind the door was not too big, only about 100 meters in radius. It was not even as big as the evil demon hall outside. The inner walls were inlaid with flashing white crystals, and there were also statues carved on the inner walls. However, there were only countless statues of Blood Wolf Knights. The Blood Wolf Knights and their mounts were all kneeling on the ground. The area where they were kneeling was empty. Below that empty area, there was a coffin made of gold. After seeing this coffin, everyone looked at each other with serious expressions. Could this be the owner of this ruin? He should be dead, right? Liu Yinqing licked the corner of his mouth, his eyes filled with uncertainty. After all, the demons outside were still alive and well. Who knew if the guy here was dead? Should we open it and take a look? Everyone looked at each other hesitantly. Meng Ding grinned. Of course we have to take a look. This is a ruin from ancient times, a king that we have never heard of. This kind of thing naturally has to be studied. His eyes were filled with fanaticism. Even Meng Sheng was looking forward to it. For these treasures, he was more interested in which ancient era and which king's tomb belonged to. What did this tomb have to do with King Ming? The two of them had been studying the crown of King Ming for so long, but they had not made any progress until now. Perhaps understanding the other king's information could help them understand the ancient crown's function? The others also had curious looks in their eyes. Should we open it and take a look? Then let's open it. After everyone had made up their minds, they all gathered around the golden coffin. Meng Ding and Meng Sheng looked at each other, then slowly lifted the lid of the coffin. Ka ka ka. After the lid was lifted, everyone's eyes widened when they saw what was inside. There was no corpse in the coffin, nor were there any demons that they were worried about. There were only a few items. One of the items made Meng Ding and Meng Sheng widen their eyes, and their pupils contracted violently. It was a scepter. The scepter was inlaid with crimson-red gemstones, and it was completely white. Other than the gemstones, it looked very simple. However, Meng Ding and Meng Sheng were all too familiar with the scepter. This was the scepter that King Meng was holding. Under the scepter, there was an ancient book. After seeing this familiar ancient book, Meng Ding and Meng Sheng felt like they were struck by lightning. This is... Meng Ding's hands trembled as he reached into the coffin and took out the ancient book. As expected, there was only half of the ancient book. It seemed to have been torn apart from the middle. After seeing this half of the ancient book, Meng Ding and Meng Sheng swallowed their saliva, and their breathing quickened. There was no mistake. The other half of King Meng's diary, and King Meng's scepter. However, wasn't this the Blood King's tomb? Why would the other half of King Meng's ancient book and scepter be here? Meng Ding and Meng Sheng looked at each other, their eyes filled with confusion. Chapter 157. Meng Ding, what's wrong? Fang Shiji looked at Meng Ding and Meng Sheng with doubt in his eyes. Nothing. Meng Ding shook his head. Then, he looked at the scepter and half of the ancient book and smiled. Let's split the spoils. More than a month later, in an underground cave in the northern Blue District, the Lich Wu Ming stood in front of the giant stone throne with his body bowed. Behind him were many people in gray robes. At this moment, on the huge stone throne they were facing, a dark green flame suddenly appeared, and a hooded man slowly emerged from the flame. The gray-robed people in the underground hall trembled as if they had fallen into a cold cave, and cold sweat appeared on their foreheads. Wu Ming bowed, saluting the figure in the dark flames. Greetings, my great master. The hooded man looked at the underground hall, and the corners of his mouth curled up. How are the preparations? Everything is ready, my great master. Wu Ming's body was surrounded by a strange green flame, and his voice was filled with excitement. Very good. If this succeeds, I will give you even more power. Praise you, my great master. The flames in Wu Ming's eyes flickered, and he bowed even deeper. Of course, if this fails, you know the consequences. Yes, my great master. Then, let's follow the original plan. The hooded man's lips curled up as he spoke slowly. Understood. Wu Ming nodded. A gust of wind blew, and the dark green flame on the giant stone throne suddenly disappeared as if it had never appeared. The entire underground hall seemed to have been sucked away at this moment, and it was completely silent. After a while, Wu Ming stood up. The soul fire in his eye sockets flickered as he turned to look at the gray-robed people on the ground, not daring to speak. This is the first time our undead church has appeared in the eyes of the Empire. Go, carry out the great master's will, and give the 6 races a surprise. Let them know that death is coming. Yes. All the gray-robed people roared, then got up and left the underground hall. Soon, Wu Ming was the only one left standing in the underground hall. Well then, I'm going to start moving too. His voice echoed in the hall. In the next moment, he turned into a cloud of green mist and disappeared on the spot. Force Cultivation Building. Mo Xiao Bai sat cross-legged in the cultivation room with a 4-fold amplification effect. White origin power flickered around his body. Dong! Formless ripples spread out and Mo Xiao Bai's originally powerful aura exploded once again. The light around his body became even more dazzling. A moment later, Mo Xiao Bai slowly opened his eyes. A look of surprise flashed across his eyes as he exhaled. After more than a month, he had finally broken through to the 3rd aperture. He clenched his fists slightly and felt the surge of power in his body. He smiled with satisfaction. His own innate talent, Titan Force, had also improved. His strength had more than doubled. Moreover, he also gained the innate ability of the giant spirit body. He slowly stood up, his power surging. Giant spirit body. Dong! Mo Xiao Bai's body suddenly expanded. His original height of more than 8 meters grew to more than 2 meters. He clenched his fist and punched out. Boom! There was a loud explosion in the air, and his fist was surrounded by white airwaves. The entire cultivation room seemed to be filled with a storm. After Mo Xiao Bai retracted his fist, the storm slowly calmed down. The corners of Mo Xiao Bai's mouth cracked open, revealing a smile. So powerful. The power of this punch was almost on par with his full strength before he broke through. Of course, this did not include the power of the Sky Desolation Slash. However, the consumption of the giant spirit body was not small. With his current strength, he could only maintain it for about 3 minutes. If he used the giant spirit body and used his full strength, his battle power should be comparable to a low rank 4 leader. Mo Xiao by returned to his original state and stretched. Moreover, the range of his white light had expanded again. It had reached a range of about 1 kilometer. He was very happy. With such a large range of light, it would be much more convenient for him to find void treasures in the void domain. Mo Xiaobai chuckled and walked out of the room. Time to go to class. There was a history class in the afternoon. Mo Xiaobai came to the classroom. His gaze swept across the crowd and found that Yin Shui was already there. He walked directly to Yin Shui and sat down beside her. Yin Shui looked at Mo Xiaobai. Her eyes widened slightly, revealing a surprised expression. You broke through? Mo Xiaobai laughed. How is it? Are you surprised? Are you surprised? Yin Shui rolled her eyes. I'm about to break through too. Good luck. You can do it, young lady. Show off. Yin Shui pouted. Mo Xiaobai looked at Yin Shui with a smile. This girl's expression now was much more than when they first met last year. The two of them chatted happily. Everyone in the classroom was already used to it. However, there were still many boys who expressed their envy and jealousy. When school started, the news of Mo Xiaobai, Yin Shui, Natsu Qi, and Su Yin coming to school together had spread throughout the school. Many people were guessing their relationship. Naturally, there were also people who said that Mo Xiaobai and Yin Shui were in a relationship. However, Mo Xiaobai and the other 3 were not people who cared about such things. They did not explain anything and continued to do their own things. At this moment, a slightly plump, middle-aged night creature man walked into the classroom. Students, quiet. It's time for class. Mo Xiaobai looked at the classroom on the podium and frowned slightly. It had been more than a month, and Meng Sensei still had not returned. It had been more than 2 months since he gave the Meng Sensei the crown, right? He said that he was going to look for his brother to research it. Could it be that he did not want to come back? Mo Xiaobai's expression was a little strange. However, thinking about it carefully, with Meng Sensei's personality, it was possible that he would do something like that. Forget it. He would naturally come back if the research was successful. Mo Xiaobai shook his head and did not think about it any further. Soon, the history class ended. Mo Xiaobai and Yin Shui were about to leave the classroom. Suddenly, a dignified voice sounded throughout the entire school. There are undead causing chaos in the Northern Blue District. The teachers and students of the Akatsuki Academy shall protect the Empire and its citizens. All teachers and students may head to the disaster site to exterminate the undead. The dignified voice echoed throughout the school. After a moment of silence, the classroom burst into an uproar. Undead. Speaking of which, I heard that there were quite a few undead causing chaos in a few small towns. I also heard about that, but didn't they say that it had already been quelled? Why are they suddenly appearing everywhere? Everyone looked at each other with shock in their eyes. Even Mo Xiaobai and Yin Shui furrowed their brows. Yin Shui said, "Looks like there are quite a few undead this time. Even the teachers and students of the Akatsuki Academy have to go out and suppress them. There was no news at all before, so why are there suddenly so many undead?" Mo Xiaobai was a little confused. At this moment, he thought of something and his body trembled. Last time, when he encountered the undead in Huadu Town, it was that altar. His expression suddenly became strange. He had personally seen that altar summon over 1,000 undead in a short period of time. If there were altars set up in many places in the Northern Blue District and summoned undead together, how many undead would appear? Thinking of this, Mo Xiaobai could not help but feel his scalp go numb. It can't be right. The substitute teacher, Wu Bufan, had not left yet. When he heard this, he furrowed his brows. He looked around at everyone in the classroom and slowly said, "Since the principal has already given the order, let's go. Since the principal has already given the order, students, get ready to set off." I'd like to remind you all to be careful and don't let your emotions affect your decisions. Yes. Wu Buffon hurriedly left, while the remaining students discussed with each other and prepared to go to the mission hall to check out the situation. During this time, many people turned to look in the direction of Mo Xiaobai and Yin Shui. After all, Mo Xiaobai and Yin Shui were both very strong. If they could deal with the undead with them, their own safety would be guaranteed. However, they did not dare to go up and ask. Mo Xiaobai did not care about what they thought. He turned to Yin Shui and found that Yin Shui was also looking at him. He smiled. Shall we go? Okay. On the way, Mo Xiaobai sent a message to Natsuki and Suin. He found that they had already set off. Moreover, they were different from the lower grade students. They were moving together with their teacher. It seemed that they were going to deal with the strong. Although Mo Xiaobai and Yin Shui's strength was considered terrifying among the first years, they were still far from those 5 orifices and 6 orifices powerhouses. Mo Xiaobai put away the communication crystal. Yin Shui looked over. What should we do? Let's go to the nearby town first. Mo Xiaobai said. Yin Shui nodded. Okay, then let's rent a mount outside. No need. Mo Xiaobai smiled. Yin Shui turned to look at Mo Xiaobai in confusion. Seeing Yin Shui's confusion, Mo Xiaobai smiled. Let me show you a treasure. As he spoke, he took out the contract crystal of the wind feather eagle. Screech. After the origin power poured in, a screech was heard. In the next moment, the wind feather eagle's beautiful green body appeared in front of Mo Xiaobai and Yin Shui. A strong aura surged, and wisps of wind spread in all directions. Yin Shui looked at the wind feather eagle and couldn't help but open her eyes wide. This is a rank 3 leader? Then, she turned to look at Mo Xiaobai. Your contracted mount? Mo Xiaobai's lips curled up as he smiled. Yin Shui's mouth twitched, and a trace of envy flashed in her eyes. A leader-level mount, and a rank 3-1 at that. I can't even find one in my house. Yin Shui naturally didn't like average-quality mounts, and they weren't suitable for training. They were not much different from the ones that were rented out in school. Low-level and high-quality mounts were quite rare. Even Yin family was so big, but they couldn't find a suitable one for her. She didn't expect Mo Xiaobai to have one. She was jealous. Not only Yin Shui, but the students nearby all turned to look when they heard the commotion. It's actually a leader-level mount. And it's a flying mount? Is it a wind feather eagle? This is a magic beast that can control the wind element. It's really fast. Whose mount is this? Are they that arrogant? I think it's Mo Xiaobai's. Mo Xiaobai, the first place of the first years? It's actually him. The students passing by all had looks of envy. Average quality mounts weren't rare, and elite quality mounts were much rarer. Even the Akatsuki Academy, not many people had a leader-level mount. Who would have thought that Mo Xiaobai would have one in his first year? The difference was too big. Mo Xiaobai ignored the exclamations of the others and pulled Yin Shui's arm onto the wind feather eagle's back. Get on. Let's go. We'll go to North Ridge Town first. Yin Shui came back to her senses and blushed slightly when she saw Mo Xiaobai holding her arm. Before she could say anything, Mo Xiaobai let go of her hand and said with a smile, Sit tight. Little Qing is very fast. Yin Shui rolled her eyes at Mo Xiaobai and nodded lightly. Mo Xiaobai patted Little Qing. Little Qing, let's go. Screech. Little Qing let out a cry and spread its wings, flying hundreds of meters in an instant and disappearing on the spot. Many students in the school were left envious. In the air, Little Qing circulated the wind elements and formed a shield on its back, isolating it from the wind. Yin Shui looked down at the ground below with a smile on her face. She turned to look at Mo Xiaobai and asked curiously, Why do you have such a high-quality contracted mount? A rank 3 leader-level mount is even rarer than a legendary rank 3 heavenly forged equipment. Mo Xiaobai shrugged. During the last break, I found a void treasure in the void domain, and then I found a contract crystal with Little Qing. Yin Shui, hearing this, she didn't want to say anything. This guy's luck made her want to hit him. Then why didn't you use this when you came back to school last time? And Mo Xiaobai rolled his eyes. Sister Xiaodong was so excited that I didn't dare to say anything. Recalling how Natsu Ki drove last time, his scalp tingled. Yin Shui chuckled softly. That's true. The Wind Feather Eagle was much faster than the mounts rented in the school. In less than an hour, they were close to North Mountain Town. At this moment, the outside of North Mountain Town was densely packed with undead. Waves of undead were moving toward the town. Most of them were blocked by the adventurers and the guards, but some still entered the city. So many. Yin Shui frowned, her expression grave. There were at least tens of thousands of undead in the sea of undead below. More and more undead were coming out of the mountains and forests, joining the sea of undead attacking the town. After all, this was only a town. Although there were hundreds of thousands or even millions of people in North Mountain Town, there weren't that many body fundamentalists with one aperture and above. After all, there were many ordinary people who tempered their bodies. It was too difficult to defend against tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands of undead. No wonder the principal asked all of us to come together. And Mo Xiaobai's expression was ugly. I'm afraid it's not just our school. The other 4 schools will have to move out as well. Let's go down quickly. Yin Shui's expression turned cold. Mo Xiaobai nodded and patted Little Qing. Instantly, Little Green chirped and flew down towards North Ridge Town. Chapter 158. North Ridge Town, the edge of the town. The Defense Army, Azure Edge, and adventurers formed a battle line and clashed with the sea of undead. Shield warriors forward. Block the attacks. Archers, elementalists. Attack with all your might. Send these dead people back to the graveyard. Healers, watch the warriors in front. Ensure their safety. Ice Cream, who was wearing the Defense Army's armor, looked at the sea of undead with an ugly expression as he roared his orders. The sounds of battle, killing, and screams resounded throughout the battlefield. Flesh and blood splattered everywhere, and broken limbs were scattered all over the ground. The battle was in a stalemate, but Ice Cream and the others had ugly expressions. This was because there were still undead approaching from afar. If their men died, they might be revived as undead and join the enemy camp. It would not be long before the battle line collapsed completely. He could not help but spit on the ground and said ferociously, "Who summoned so many undead? How dare they look down on the Empire?" The deputy beside him was pale and frightened. "Deputy Commander, if this continues, we won't be able to hold on for much longer. Where are the reinforcements?" The corner of Bing Ling's mouth twitched as he growled. It's not just North Ridge Town. Many big cities in the northern Green region have also encountered undead. Reinforcements will be much slower. The deputy swallowed his saliva, his voice weak. Damn it. Ice Cream gripped his long sword tightly. We won't be able to hold on for long. No, but the higher-ups just sent news that the teachers and students of the Force Academy have been mobilized. Akatsuki Academy and South Shore Academy are near our North Ridge Town. As long as the Akatsuki Academy's powerhouses arrive, we should be saved. Hearing this, Ice Cream heaved a sigh of relief and relaxed a little. Then, he could not help but sigh. Let's hope there are fewer losses. On the battlefield, Lu Qing held a sword and shield in one hand and blocked the bone sword of a Tier 2 undead with the other. The long sword in his right hand flashed with white light as it slashed the undead's neck. Crack! The undead's head rolled down and was crushed by the other undead that followed. Lu Qing didn't even have time to catch his breath before several undead roared and attacked him. Lu Qing's expression changed, and he raised a shield to block. Dong dong dong. His face turned pale, and he took a few steps back. Blood flowed from the corner of his mouth. On the other hand, the expressions of Du Ling and the others behind him changed when they saw this. "Boss, are you all right?" Everyone continued to attack the undead, forcing them to retreat a few steps. Lu Qing exhaled slightly and looked at the densely packed undead with an ugly expression. Damn it! Why are there suddenly so many undead? Who on earth created so many undead creatures? Don't tell me they want to destroy our North Ridge Town? Seeing the roaring undead approaching, everyone's faces paled, their eyes filled with despair. Are we going to die here today? Brothers, fight to the death. Our families are behind us. Even if we die, we must block these dead people from me." Roars rang out one after another. At this moment, an eagle's cry could be heard from the sky. Instantly, everyone's expression changed, and they looked up at the sky. After seeing the wind-feather eagle descending rapidly from the sky, everyone smiled in surprise. It's the reinforcements. There's a powerhouse coming. Ice Cream, who was originally in a bad mood, smiled after seeing the wind-feather eagle. This aura, a rank 3 boss-level mount, it must be a 4-chakra powerhouse. With him, we can hold on until the reinforcements arrive. Mo Xiaobai looked down at the tragic situation on the battlefield and frowned slightly. Then, a black light flashed around him, and the Dark Knight Guardian Set covered his body. Beside him, Yin Shui also put on her battle armor. Mo Xiaobai looked at Yin Shui and said, "You attack from Little Green's back, I'll go down." Although Yin Shui's close combat strength was not weak, her main combat strength was the bow and arrow. Standing on Little Green's back, she would be able to maximize the effect. But he was different. Yin Shui nodded lightly. "Okay, be careful." And Mo Xiaobai nodded, then patted Little Green. "Little Green, attack those undead on your own." With that, he jumped down from the sky. Dong! Little Qing's position was still more than 10 meters above the ground. After his body landed, a powerful shockwave spread out. All the undead within a 5-meter radius were killed by the shockwave, and those more than 10 meters away were sent flying. Roar! After seeing Mo Xiaobai, the undead did not hesitate at all. The soul fire in their eyes flowed, and they charged at him. Mo Xiaobai saw this, and the corner of his mouth twitched. They were all rank 1 and rank 2 undead. They were too weak. The Dark Knight Guardian's sword appeared in his hand, and a cold, killing intent flashed in his eyes. "Die, all of you!" Boom! His right foot stomped on the ground, and his body turned into a black light and disappeared. Swinging the sword clashing, all the undead that came into contact with him were torn to shreds. His violent strength allowed Mo Xiaobai to fight without expending any origin power. He could just rely on his incomparably powerful physical strength to fight. Moreover, his breath of life had reached perfection a few days ago. His powerful endurance and recovery ability allowed him to face these rank 1 and rank 2 undead without using any strength. With the golden scale armor and legendary armor covering his body, these undead could not even break through his defense. Dong! Dong! As he swung the sword, the Dark Knight Guardian's Dark Impact inscription was constantly activated. Every time it was activated, more than 10 undead were torn to pieces. In the air, Little Green flapped its wings, and the wind turned into wind blades, constantly killing the undead. On Little Green's back, Yin Shui stood up straight. Her right hand turned into an afterimage, and one ice arrow after another was shot out. Every time the ice arrow hit an undead, it would explode. Ice shards would fly everywhere, and batches of undead would fall. Just 2 people and an eagle killed thousands of undead in a short time. Soon, the area within a few hundred meters was cleared by Mo Xiaobai. On the battlefield not far away, Ice Cream's eyes widened, and he was completely stunned. "What the F***CK? It's Mo Xiaobai?" The assistant looked at Ice Cream with a puzzled expression. It was the first time he saw his superior react so violently. "Assistant Captain, you know this." He looked at the figure that looked like a black beast and could not help but gulp. In front of this figure, the undead were like bubbles that would burst with a touch. Is this a powerhouse? His eyes were filled with reverence. He originally thought that with this powerhouse joining in, they would be able to hold back the undead sea. He did not expect that it would not be holding back at all. With this person's speed, it would not take long for all the undead to be killed, all right? When Ice Cream heard his assistant's words, the corner of his mouth could not help but twitch. He did not know how to reply. The last time he fought with Mo Xiaobai, because of the incident with One Eye, it was less than a year ago. Although he lost at that time, the gap between them was not that big. But what was the situation now? How did this guy become so strong? Was this a genius? Ice Cream felt terrible. It was not just Ice Cream. Mo Xiaobai's area of battle was near Lu Qing and the rest. Because of Mo Xiaobai's strength, the undead nearby were almost all cleared. When they saw Mo Xiaobai on the battlefield, their eyes widened. That's Xiaobai. What the F asterisk CK? Brother Xiaobai? Are you for real? The few of them looked at each other, similarly dumbfounded. It had only been a few months since the Murlocs' rebellion. How perverted had this guy become? When Mo Xiaobai heard someone calling him, he turned his head in confusion. When he saw Lu Qing and the rest, he smiled and waved at them. Brother Lu Qing, it's you guys. The situation is urgent now, so I can't chat much. Let's chat when we have time. Lu Qing and the rest quickly nodded. Go on, go on. Mo Xiaobai smiled and turned to charge at the other undead. Looking at Mo Xiaobai's back, Du Ling's eyes were filled with admiration. As expected of Brother Xiaobai, he's too strong. When the others saw Du Ling's expression, the corners of their mouths twitched. Lu Qing sighed and said, Brother Xiaobai is the real genius. He's only a freshman, and his strength is already so terrifying. And he even has a rank 3 leader mount. As expected of Brother Xiaobai, the others also nodded in agreement. Mo Xiaobai went to another area and continued to kill the undead. As the undead were killed, the pressure on the front line was greatly reduced. Under Ice Cream's command, some people could go to the town to clean up the undead that had escaped the net. Roar! At this moment, a dull roar came from the battlefield. Everyone turned their heads to look at him. A 3-meter-tall, greenish-gray giant corpse roared and charged at Mo Xiaobai. Ice Cream and the others' expressions changed. However, before they could worry, Mo Xiaobai had already turned into a ray of black light and appeared in front of the giant corpse. He raised his right leg and kicked the giant corpse in the chest. Donk! A violent force surged and the giant corpse flew out. In the air, its body exploded into pieces of flesh and blood. A rain of blood fell from the sky. Everyone, seeing Mo Xiaobai turn into a rank 3 leader and kill it with a single kick, Ice Cream and the others' eyes almost fell out of their sockets. It was too terrifying. This was a human-shaped, magical beast. At the highest peak of the mountain range outside Northridge Town, there were 3 figures in gray robes standing on a high platform. The leader of the group was a rabbit-human male. He looked at the undead battlefield in the distance and narrowed his eyes. I didn't expect the Empire to send reinforcements so quickly. TSK. That kid's strength is really terrifying. He's only at the 3rd aperture, right? Killing a tier 3 pinnacle leader with a single kick? And it's a giant corpse with a strong defense. Boss, what should we do? The other 2 looked at the rabbit-human male. The rabbit-human male smiled and said slowly, It doesn't matter. We're just here to attract attention. He can't do much by himself. The other 2 gray-robed men also smiled when they heard this. That's true, as expected of our boss. You're so thorough. The rabbit-human male smiled and looked at the altar below. Within the altar, the black crystal kept flashing, and fine cracks had already appeared on its surface. These crystals can't take it anymore. Let's summon the last batch. Okay. Boss. Should we summon a big one for that kid to play with? If we can kill such a genius and report it, we'll be rewarded handsomely, right? A slightly plump human man rubbed his hands and squinted his eyes as he smiled. Hearing this, the rabbit-human male and the other elf male were tempted. The rabbit-human male thought for a moment and sneered. Then let's give it a try. Summon a big guy. He's such a genius, so we should show him some respect. Ha ha ha, boss, you're so wise. The human male and elf male were looking forward to it. In just over 10 minutes, Mo Xiaobai, Yin Shui, and Little Qing had killed all the undead outside the town, leaving only 2 or 3 kittens. Mo Xiaobai breathed a sigh of relief after killing an elite skeleton warrior. Everyone on the battlefront also breathed a sigh of relief. Many guards, members of Azure Edge, and adventurers looked at Mo Xiaobai from afar, their eyes filled with shock and respect. He's too strong. He's only at the beginner level of 3 apertures, but he can kill so many undead. Where did this monster come from? Don't you know? This guy is Akatsuki's first-year student. I think his name is Emo Xiaobai. He's a super genius who's ranked first on the leaderboard. F***CK. Akatsuki has such a crazy student now. A first-year student is already so terrifying. When the top 3 contenders fight, the other 2 won't be able to hold on, right? I guess so. Now's not the time to talk about this. I wonder if there are any more undead? Hearing this, everyone remembered that the undead had not completely disappeared. Those undead came from the mountains, right? Everyone looked at the mountains. There were still many undead approaching. Dong, dong, dong. At this moment, a series of muffled noises came from the direction of the mountain range. Everyone's eyes widened. What's that sound? While everyone was deep in thought, a team of undead knights wearing gray armor and riding gray war horses rushed over from the distant mountain range. The leading undead knight was shrouded in gray fog. There were green flames burning on the 4 legs of the warhorse. Everywhere it passed, it formed a path of fire. Seeing this scene, everyone's expression changed. Death Knights. The ones in front are Nightmare Knights. Damn it, there's such a monster. Looking at the charging Death Knights, everyone's backs were drenched in cold sweat. Beside Ice Cream, a middle-aged man in armor had a drastic change in expression. He roared, "Powerhouses with 3 chakras and above, get ready. We must block this group of Death Knights." Then, he looked up at Emo Xiaobai in front of him. A trace of worry flashed in his eyes. Nightmare Knight, that's a rank 4, level 3 leader. I don't know if he can block it. Old Ice, let's go and help him, he said. Ice Cream nodded with a serious expression. With their strength, facing a rank 4 Nightmare Knight was almost certain to die. However, this was their hometown. They could not let others sacrifice their lives for their hometown. Moreover, the other party was a super genius with a bright future. When Emo Xiaobai saw so many Death Knights, especially the Nightmare Knight, his expression changed. Gray-black lines of misfortune flowed around the Nightmare Knight's body. Together with the lines of misfortune on the other Death Knights, all the lines of misfortune condensed into a black line of misfortune. When Emo Xiaobai saw this, a trace of sharpness flashed in his eyes. The corner of his mouth curled up into a smile. This was a good opportunity to test his current strength. Chapter 159. Boom, boom, boom. The Nightmare Knight and the Death Knight turned into a gray tide as they charged forward. Their powerful aura surged like a stormy sea. Emo Xiaobai's eyes were sharp. The origin power in his body surged as he slowly grew taller. Giant spirit body. At the same time, strands of golden light appeared on the surface of his body. Waves of energy circulated around him, causing his black hair to flutter. Zhao Wu incantation. Feeling the violent energy in his body, Emo Xiaobai's lips curled up slightly as he stomped his foot on the ground. Boom! Spiderweb-like cracks appeared on the ground. His body turned into a blade of light and disappeared. After using Blade Walk a few times, Emo Xiaobai appeared in front of the Nightmare Knight. Chi 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 chi. 4 streaks of blade light cut through the air the moment Emo Xiaobai appeared, slashing at the Nightmare Knight. At the same time, Emo Xiaobai gripped the Dark Knight Protector's sword with both hands. His power surged, and a bloody light wrapped around the heavy sword as he slashed down. Wild heavy strike. Roar! The blood-colored soul fire in the Nightmare Knight's eyes flickered as he roared. A greenish-gray shield condensed around his body. The streaks of blade light collided with the shield, emitting a sizzling sound. The shield trembled continuously, but it didn't shatter. The gray spear in his right hand danced, sweeping towards Emo Xiaobai. Clang! The spear and the heavy sword collided, and the ear-piercing sound of metal clashing echoed throughout the battlefield. Violent waves of energy wreaked havoc. The terrifying recoil caused Emo Xiaobai's body to fly backwards. The Nightmare Knight's warhorse bent its limbs and knelt on the ground, letting out a mournful whine. Emo Xiaobai flipped over in midair, the tip of his foot touching the ground as he disappeared once more. An instant later, Mo Xiaobai's body appeared behind the Nightmare Knight. Just as he was about to attack, the Nightmare Knight's eyes flashed with a bloody light, and a gray-black energy wave spread out from his body. Rare grade origin skill, Nightmare Wave. Mo Xiaobai's pupils constricted, and he blocked with his heavy sword. Boom! His chest felt heavy, and his body flew out. At the same time, the Nightmare Knight's mount stood up once again. The Nightmare Knight's body flashed with black light. In the next moment, it disappeared from the spot and teleported in front of Mo Xiaobai. The gray spear carried a violent force as it pierced towards Mo Xiaobai's chest. Rare origin skill, Nightmare Charge. Mo Xiaobai looked at the approaching spear, cold sweat dripping down his back. He hurriedly raised his sword to block. Clang! Mo Xiaobai felt a powerful force, and he was pushed back more than 10 meters before he could stabilize himself. Feeling the soreness in his arm and the pain in his palm, the corner of his mouth twitched uncontrollably. What a powerful force! Even if he used the Titan Spirit Body, the War Revelation Mantra, and the Perfect Breath of Life, he still couldn't completely block it, as expected of a Tier 4, Level 3 boss. Amazing! Mo Xiaobai sighed in his heart. In the distance, Ice Cream, Wu Bufan, and the other 3 apertured experts, who had originally planned to help, stared at Mo Xiaobai and the Nightmare Knight with wide eyes. They were all dumbfounded. Holy shit! Wu Bufan's mouth twitched, and he couldn't help but growl. Are you King serious? Mo Xiaobai is only at the 3 apertured level 1, but he can actually contend with a Tier 4, Level 3 boss? If I didn't see it with my own eyes, I wouldn't believe it either. Ice Cream was also very confused. Wasn't this too strong? Mo Xiaobai shook his hand, his expression serious as he looked at the Nightmare Knight, who was surrounded by gray mist. He knew his own situation. He looked like he was exchanging blows with the Nightmare Knight, but in reality, he was being suppressed. And this was after he used the Titan Spirit Body and the War Revelation Mantra. Once the buffs disappeared, wouldn't he be forced to run around? As expected of a Tier 4 boss. Looks like I still have to use my full strength. The corners of Mo Xiaobai's mouth curled up, revealing a smile. He gripped the heavy sword with both hands, and a faint yellow light flickered on the heavy sword. The aura of his body began to surge again. The people in the distance all stared at this scene with wide eyes. What? Mo Xiaobai still has a trump card. They looked at Mo Xiaobai, whose aura had surged again, and were shocked. Could this be a legendary origin skill? How is this possible? How can a guy who has just opened 3 apertures use a legendary origin skill? Then, everyone's breathing stopped as if they had thought of something, and their eyes widened. A legendary origin skill crystal. Yes, this is the only possibility. Only those who had absorbed a legendary origin skill crystal could barely use a legendary origin skill at the 3 apertured level, right? Otherwise, it was impossible for a 3 apertured body fundamentalist to comprehend a legendary origin skill by relying on their own comprehension. Even if one used an origin skill crystal and mastered a legendary origin skill to perfection, the requirements for the user to use it were extremely high. Origin power and physical strength had extremely high requirements. This means this guy's origin refinement technique is also a flawless origin refinement technique, and he might even have a legendary body refinement technique. Everyone looked at each other. Bing Ling swallowed her saliva, her eyes filled with shock. This is at least 2 legendary origin skill crystals, and one of them is the most precious origin refinement technique. Wu Bufan's eyes twitched, and the corners of his mouth twitched. A 3 apertured body fundamentalist actually has at least 3 legendary origin skills. Isn't he stronger than the heirs of some of the top families? Are we crazy, or is the world crazy? Everyone looked at each other and couldn't help but laugh bitterly. One had to know that this was an extremely precious legendary origin skill crystal. This was too crazy. While Ice Cream and the others were shocked, the Nightmare Knight also felt the powerful aura emanating from Mo Xiaobai's body. His body couldn't help but stiffen, and he actually began to slowly retreat. A rank 4 undead already possessed a certain level of intelligence. However, a cold glint flashed across Mo Xiaobai's eyes. You want to run after showing off? Dong! He stomped on the ground, and his body instantly disappeared. The next moment, he appeared on the left side of the Nightmare Knight. A yellow sword light flashed past. Chi! The Nightmare Knight and his horse were split in two. The sword light didn't stop there, and it slashed into the ground. Boom! After the dust settled, a deep sword mark several meters long was left on the ground. There weren't even any cracks around the sword mark. One could imagine how sharp the sword was. Mo Xiaobai felt that 2/3 of his strength had dissipated, and he exhaled slightly before breaking through. Even if he drank all kinds of medicine, using the Sky Desolation Slash once would have drained him dry. Now that he had broken through, he had only used 2 amplification methods, and even after using the Sky Desolation Slash, he still had the strength to fight. It had to be said that after breaking through to the 3rd aperture, his combat strength had increased by quite a bit. The people in the distance couldn't help but look at each other in dismay when they saw Mo Xiaobai kill the Nightmare Knight along with his horse. Ice Cream swallowed a mouthful of saliva. So powerful as expected of a legendary origin skill. And it's even perfect. The corner of Wu Bufon's mouth twitched. Lu Qing and the others in the distance were dumbfounded. Mo Xiaobai's strength had far exceeded their expectations. All right, there's still some left. Let's hurry up and kill them. Mo Xiaobai turned to look at the Death Knight not far away, and his body transformed into a blade of light as he charged over. On a distant mountain peak, the 3 gray-robed men were stunned when they saw Mo Xiaobai kill the Nightmare Knight. This guy, the rabbit-human man's eyes widened, his expression ugly. He actually has a legendary origin skill. The slightly plump human man and elf man also looked at each other, their faces filled with shock. Then, the elf man said somewhat nervously, "Boss, the darkness crystal has been shattered in order to summon the Nightmare Knight. We can't summon any more undead. What do we do next?" The rabbit-human man squinted his eyes as he looked at the battlefield in the distance. After a moment of silence, he slowly said, "Let's leave this place. Since that's the case, let's retreat. I'm afraid it won't be long before those fellows come to the mountain range." Boss is right. It's better if we don't provoke these monsters. The other 2 nodded. Just as the 3 of them were about to leave, the weather suddenly turned cold, and ice arrows fell from the sky. The 3 of them narrowed their eyes, and a greenish-gray fog appeared in front of them to protect them. The rabbit-human man seemed to have thought of something and said, "Oh no, I forgot about that guy's companions." The other 2's expressions changed as well. The 3 of them looked up and saw a giant green eagle circling in the sky. Screech! The giant green eagle screeched, and wind blades fell from the sky. Screech, 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 screech. The sharp wind blades cut through the air, creating a screeching sound. Retreat! The rabbit-human man roared, and the 3 of them moved down the mountain range. On Little Green's back, Yin Shui's icy blue eyes were expressionless as she watched the 3 of them escape. She drew her bow with her right hand, and frost began to form on the string. Rare origin skill, Ice Flower Bloom. Clang! Streaks of sharp ice crystals spun around like gorgeous flowers blooming, instantly covering the 3 gray-robed men. At the same time, Little Green also let out a cry. With a flap of its wings, a sharp tornado rushed out. The tornado merged with the blooming ice flowers, and its aura became even stronger. The 3 gray-robed men's expressions changed. Damn it! Another monster level 1. The rabbit-human man was already at the 1st level of the 4-chakra realm, and the other 2 were at the peak of the 3-chakra realm. At this moment, they could feel the aura of death. "Let's block it together," the rabbit-human man roared. The 3 of them waved their staffs, and greenish-gray barriers formed in the air, blocking the ice flower tornado. Boom! Ice crystals and wind blades flew everywhere, and the barriers shook violently before shattering with a loud boom. Pooh! The human man and elf man both spat out mouthfuls of blood, and the rabbit-human man's face was pale. After blocking this attack, the rabbit-human man roared, "Let's go!" He took the lead and ran in the direction of the array formation. Behind him, the human man and elf man chased after him. At this moment, the aura of frost came from behind them again. The three of them turned around and saw ice arrows and wind blades flying toward them. The three of them were scared out of their wits. A savage look flashed across the rabbit-human man's eyes. He waved his staff, and two streaks of greenish-gray fog hit the human man and elf man. Instantly, the two of them took a few steps back. The human man and elf man watched in disbelief as the rabbit-human man rushed into the array on the altar, turned into gray fog, and disappeared. The altar shattered as well. No! The human man and elf man's eyes almost popped out of their sockets. However, they didn't have time to think. The ice arrows and wind blades were already close behind them. The two of them could only turn around and block. Boom, 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 boom. When the ice arrows and wind blades stopped, the human man and elf man were covered in blood and collapsed on the ground. Their auras were weak. Yin Shui looked at the two men on the ground and said to Little Green, "I'll go down. Bring your master here." Screech. Little Green screeched. Yin Shui jumped down from Little Green's back, and Little Green turned around and flew toward the battlefield. Soon, Little Green flew back with Mo Xiaobai. Mo Xiaobai jumped down from Little Green's back and looked at the two men in gray robes on the ground. He raised an eyebrow. "They're the ones who created the sea of undead. They're so weak?" Mo Xiaobai only wanted to let Yin Shui see who created the sea of undead. He didn't expect Yin Shui to have caught all of them, and these two fellows were only at the pinnacle of 3 apertures. Weren't they too weak? No wonder they didn't dare to appear directly. It made sense. If they were strong enough, they wouldn't have summoned the sea of undead to attack Northridge Town. Wouldn't it be better to do it themselves? Yin Shui said softly. One of them ran away. "There's a teleportation formation on that altar." Mo Xiaobai looked at the altar behind the two men in gray robes. The altar was already broken and looked like an ordinary gray rock. Mo Xiaobai's eyes flashed. This altar was very similar to the one he saw in Huada Town. However, there was no black crystal on it. He wondered if it had been taken away. He shook his head and stopped thinking about it. "Forget it. Let's bring these two fellows back first. We might be able to find out what organization they belong to." "Okay." Yin Shui nodded. Mo Xiaobai stepped forward and knocked the two of them unconscious. Then, he carried the two of them and Yin Shui onto Little Qing's back. Little Green rose into the air again and flew towards Northridge Town. There were only a few undead left outside Northridge Town. After Mo Xiaobai killed all the Death Knights, Ice Cream and Wu Bufan were about to go over. However, they saw the Wind Feather Eagle coming over and taking Mo Xiaobai away. Everyone was dumbfounded and somewhat puzzled. Did they go to other towns to help? Ice Cream was confused. That must be it. As expected of a prodigy from Akatsuki like Mo Xiaobai. Wu Bufan was touched. As expected of student Mo Xiaobai. You're extremely talented and righteous. He's the pride of our Azure Empire. That's right. It's because of geniuses like Mo Xiaobai that mortals like us can live a good life. Screech. Just as everyone was constantly bragging about Mo Xiaobai, an eagle's cry sounded out. The Wind Feather Eagle flew out of the mountains. Everyone, seeing the Wind Feather Eagle flying back, everyone's faces stiffened. Chapter 160. As the Wind Feather Eagle landed, Wu Bufan and the rest came over. Mo Xiaobai, thank you for your help. Otherwise, our Northridge Town would be in danger. Ice Cream said sincerely. Deputy Ice Cream, you're welcome. Mo Xiaobai shook his head lightly. Then, he threw the two men in gray on the ground. Wu Bufan and the rest were shocked when they saw the bloody men in gray. Mo Xiaobai, these two are... We found them in the mountains. There's an altar near them. It should be an altar to summon spirits. Everyone's eyes widened when they heard that. Their eyes were filled with shock. They were the ones who summoned the spirits this time. Mo Xiaobai nodded lightly. It should be. He glanced at the two unconscious gray-robed men and said, Our time is limited. We have to go to other places to help. These two men in gray are not strong and are heavily injured. I'll have to trouble you to take care of them. Wu Bufan nodded his head with a serious expression. Don't worry, leave it to us. Mo Xiao Bai. We won't let them escape. After all, they were the culprits behind the undead calamity. Mo Xiao Bai nodded. It would be best if we can find out who's behind them. We're good at this. Wu Bufan smiled ferociously. As an armed force of the Empire, there were different types of interrogation. Whether it was the Guard Army or the Azure Blade, they had their own interrogation department. Then we'll go to other places to help. Mo Xiaobai said with a smile after he finished explaining. Wu Bufan and the rest nodded. Then they saluted Mo Xiaobai and Yin Shui with respect in their eyes. Mo Xiaobai, Yin Shui, thank you for your hard work. Take care. Mo Xiaobai and Yin Shui both nodded. Then the two of them turned around and got on Little Qing's back. Mo Xiaobai glanced at Lu Qing and the others who were looking around in the distance. He nodded at them and patted Little Qing's back. Let's go. Screech. Little Qing let out a cry and soared into the air. Instantly, it turned into a green light and disappeared from the spot. On the ground, Wu Bufan, Ice Cream, and the others watched the green light disappear into the horizon before withdrawing their gazes. Wu Bufan sighed softly. To have geniuses like Mo Xiaobai and Yin Shui, the Empire is truly fortunate. The others nodded in agreement. Then Wu Bufan looked at the two gray-robed men on the ground, and a cold light flashed in his eyes. Old Bing, send them to the interrogation department and interrogate them properly. Ice Cream also revealed a sinister smile. Don't worry, I'll make sure they spit everything out. Ice Cream left with the two gray-robed men. Meanwhile, the others started to clean up the mess. A moment later, 3 giant gray birds descended from the sky. A few 4-chakra youths jumped down. When they saw that there were only a few undead left, their eyes flashed with confusion. Senior, what's going on? Where are the undead here? Don't tell me they've been cleaned up. That's not right. We rushed over as fast as we could. Could there be someone faster than us? Just as everyone was confused, Wu Bufan walked over. He smiled and said, Hello, I'm a North Ridge Town's Guard Corps commander, Wu Bufan. Are you all here to help? The leader, a blue-haired merman, stepped forward and nodded. Hello, Corps Commander Wu. We're students from the Akatsuki Academy. We're here to help clean up the undead. Wu Bufan hurriedly clasped his hands. So it's the Akatsuki Academy's geniuses. Thank you for your hard work. Then he smiled and said, However, the danger here has been resolved. How could it be so fast? Could it be that a powerhouse came here? A blue-haired girl asked in surprise. Wu Bufan glanced at them and said with a smile, That's right. Just a while ago, Mo Xiaobai and Yin Shui from your academy came. After they helped us clean up the undead, they left. Mo Xiaobai and Yin Shui? It's them. Everyone's eyes widened. The young merman glanced at the scattered undead, and his pupils contracted slightly. They had all heard of Mo Xiaobai and Yin Shui. After all, the two of them were the first and second on the first-year rankings. However, what they knew about Mo Xiaobai and Yin Shui were only the rumors. Now, they finally understood the strength of the two of them. They could actually clean up a sea of undead in such a short period of time. Even with so many of them, it was impossible. This made the merman youth a little dazed. Soon, he came back to his senses and smiled at Wu Bufan. I understand. We still have to go help somewhere else, so we won't disturb you. Wu Bufan nodded his head lightly. I wish you all a safe journey. The merman youth nodded and turned around. Let's go. Behind him, the Crimson Moon Academy students nodded in agreement. After everyone got on their mounts, they soared into the sky again. North of North Ridge Town, Yongyang Town. Yongyang Town was still a distance away from North Green Lake. The southwest and south were plains, while the north and east were vast forest. At this moment, the undead were running out of the forest. However, compared to North Ridge Town, the situation in Yongyang Town was much better. Other than the cultivators of the town, there were also some students and adventurers from the nearby South Shore Academy. The battle was in a stalemate. A barbarian man was fighting with a gray iron skeleton warrior on the battlefield. He was holding a long blade in his hand. The area within a few hundred meters was cleared. Neither the undead nor the Empire's experts dared to enter for fear of being affected. Outside the battle area, a group of South Shore Academy students were working with the guards to kill the undead. A rabbit girl wielding a heavy sword danced about, killing undead one after another and protecting the students behind her. An elf youth wielded a wind blade. He looked at the battle area in the distance with a trace of nervousness in his eyes. Senior Tion, is Teacher Wong okay? Hearing this, the others also looked at the rabbit human girl. Tion Xiaotian looked at the battle area and said, "Don't worry. Teacher Wong's cultivation is one level higher than that skeleton warrior. Even if he can't win, he won't be defeated in a short time. He can wait until reinforcements arrive." Hearing this, the others heaved a sigh of relief. Tian Xiaoyan's heavy sword flashed and chopped off the head of a zombie. She frowned and said sternly, "Pay attention to the surroundings. Don't be distracted on the battlefield. Be careful of losing your life." Everyone was shocked and focused their attention on the battle area again. There were many undead. If they were not careful, they might really be in danger. At this moment, an eagle's cry came from the sky. Wind blades flew across the sky and slashed into the sea of undead. One by one, the undead fell to the ground like wheat being harvested. Then blue ice crystals exploded and a beautiful ice flower bloomed. An area of more than 10 meters was surrounded, and all the undead were killed. Many people on the battlefield were shocked when they saw this scene. They were pleasantly surprised. "There's an expert here." They looked up at the sky and saw a giant green eagle circling in the sky. Then, a figure in black armor jumped down from the giant eagle. Dong! The ground trembled and the undead were sent flying. The black figure violently crushed the undead in his way and charged toward the middle-aged man and the gray steel skeleton warrior. The South Shore Academy students widened their eyes and smiled in surprise. This expert is going to help Teacher Wong. Even Tian Xiaotian heaved a sigh of relief. Then, she frowned and looked suspiciously at the figure in black armor. Why did it feel like this person's cultivation was not as high as hers? Was it an illusion? The heavy sword in Wang Bin's hand clashed with the skeleton warrior's sword. Bang! Both of them took a few steps back at the same time. Wang Bin felt the numbness in his hand and frowned slightly. He stared at the gray steel skeleton warrior in the distance. It was indeed a leader-level undead. Even if its cultivation was one level lower than his, its combat power was slightly above his. A hint of regret flashed in his eyes. If only he had learned more about the rare-level whirlwind slash before this battle. Even if he did not have to perfect it, he was confident that he could kill this skeleton warrior with just the proficient level. Unfortunately, he had obtained the whirlwind slash for more than a year and had only learned it to the proficient level. However, as long as he could delay it, it would not take long for reinforcements to arrive. When that time came, he would cooperate with the reinforcements and kill this damn skeleton warrior. Wang Bin pursed his lips and made a decision. At this moment, an eagle's cry rang out. Then, the continuous rumbling caused his body to stop. Reinforcements had arrived? However, the leader of the skeletal warriors charged at him again. He had no choice but to fight back with all his might. Clang, clang, clang. After a few more collisions, Wang Bin and the skeleton leader separated again. At this moment, a roar came from the right, and a black figure appeared on the right side of the skull. Then, a blood-red sword radiance slashed toward the skull. Roar! The skeletal leader roared and swung the saber in his hand, colliding with the blood-red sword light. Clang! The two of them retreated a few steps at the same time. Wang Bin was overjoyed when he saw this. As expected, it was reinforcements. He turned to look in the direction of the black figure. "Thank you for your help, friend," but when he saw Mo Xiao Bai's young face, the smile on his face froze and his voice stopped abruptly. "So young? Wait a minute. Only 3 apertures? What the hell?" Wang Bin's eyes widened, and he looked at Mo Xiao Bai with a strange expression. Mo Xiao Bai's attack failed, and he turned to look at the middle-aged barbarian beside him. He realized that the barbarian was looking at him as well. Mo Xiaobai smiled and greeted him. "Hello, uncle. I'm here to help you." Wang Bin's mouth twitched. Uncle? He was speechless. "Young man, you are?" Mo Xiaobai said. "I'm Akatsuki's student. My name is Mo Xiaobai." "So you're Akatsuki's student? No wonder." Wang Bin had a look of realization. Akatsuki was one of the top 3 universities. Nanban Academy, which was at the bottom of the top 100, could not be compared to it. However, to be able to force back a rank 1 skeleton with only 3 apertures, was this not too exaggerated? He had a strange expression. Was Akatsuki's student this strong? Wang Bin smiled and said, "Hello, Mo Xiaobai. I'm a teacher at Nanban Academy, Wang Bin." "Oh, Teacher Wang." Mo Xiaobai nodded. No wonder there was a rank 4 body fundamentalist in a small town. Originally, he was still a little puzzled. So was a teacher. Roar. While Mo Xiaobai and Wang Bin were talking, the skeleton warrior leader roared once more. Wisps of gray mist flowed around his body, forming an illusory armor on the surface of his body. Then, its body turned into a gray shadow and rushed toward Mo Xiaobai. Wang Bin's pupils shrank, and he rushed toward the skeleton warrior. "Mo Xiaobai, let me help you." Mo Xiaobai's body flashed with golden light. Zhao Wu incantation. However, he could not use giant spirit body for the time being. His body had not recovered to its best state. The burden after using it would be too great. His body turned into a blade of light, dodging the skeleton warrior's attack. At the same time, he came to the left side of the skeleton warrior. Chi! The blade of light flashed and slashed on the skeleton warrior's illusory armor. The illusory armor rippled. Mo Xiaobai's heavy sword glowed with white light, drawing 3 sword lights in the air. 3 consecutive slashes. Clang, clang, clang. The skeleton warrior blocked with its blade. Without using Sky Desolation Slash or Giant Spirit Body, Mo Xiaobai did not pose much of a threat to the skeleton warrior. However, Mo Xiaobai was not fighting alone. Wang Bin appeared on the other side of the skeleton warrior. His heavy sword flashed with a twisted white sword light. Whirlwind slash. The sword light slashed through the air, slashing toward the skeleton warrior's back. The skeleton warrior that had just blocked Mo Xiaobai's attack did not have a chance to dodge. It took the attack head-on. Clang! Chi! The illusory armor was torn apart, and the heavy sword fell on the skeleton warrior's bones. The powerful force caused its body to fly out. In the next moment, Mo Xiaobai disappeared from his original position and appeared in front of the skeleton warrior. Wild heavy strike. Just as Mo Xiaobai's heavy sword was about to hit the skeleton warrior's body turned into a gray light. Its speed increased dramatically, and it disappeared from its original position, leaving behind only an afterimage. Rare origin skill, Gray Mist Afterimage. Mo Xiaobai's attack landed on the afterimage. A sharp aura came from behind him. Mo Xiaobai's eyes flashed with a sharp light. His body turned into a blade of light again, disappearing from his original position. The skeleton warrior's blade swept through the air. Wang Bin had already appeared in front of the skeleton warrior. The heavy sword turned into a sword shadow, slashing at the skeleton warrior again and again. Rare origin skill, Torrential Strike. Clang, 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 clang. The skeleton warrior continuously dodged and blocked. Its body slowly retreated, and a few more cracks appeared on its body. Just as the torrential strike stopped, the skeleton warrior decided to counterattack. Mo Xiaobai's body appeared behind the skeleton warrior. Blade, edge walk. Triple slash. Wild heavy strike. A white and blood-colored sword light flashed, instantly slashing at the skeleton warrior's neck. Immediately, the skeleton warrior's head flew off and landed heavily on the ground. When Wang Bin saw this, he kicked the skeleton warrior's body away. Mo Xiaobai's body turned into a blade of light again, appearing in front of the skeleton warrior's head and stomping down. Crack! The skeleton warrior's head was crushed, and the soul fire in its eye sockets dissipated. Chapter 161. After killing the skeleton warrior leader, Wang Bin and Mo Xiaobai looked at each other and smiled. Wang Bin looked at Mo Xiaobai with admiration. Student Mo Xiaobai, your strength really puts people shame. Teacher Wang, you flatter me. It's mainly because of your strong attacks that the skeleton couldn't withstand. No, I'm serious. I've never seen or heard of a level 1-3 apertures being able to do what you did. Wang Bin's eyes were filled with shock. Also, looking at Mo Xiaobai's age, you should be in your second year, right? With such strength at such a young age, you have a bright future ahead of you. Mo Xiaobai was stunned. Then the corner of his mouth twitched. I'm in my first year. Wang Bin, the corner of his mouth twitched, and he looked at Mo Xiaobai in shock. A first-year student has already opened 3 apertures. Are you serious? Then, Wang Bin suddenly thought of something, and his eyes widened. I remember now, Mo Xiaobai. No wonder I thought your name was familiar. You're this year's top scorer? Mo Xiaobai nodded lightly. Yes. Wang Bin looked at Mo Xiaobai with a complicated expression. The new generation excels the old. I have to admit that I'm old. One had to know that Mo Xiaobai was only half his age. Perhaps he wasn't even that old, but his strength was already on par with his. He couldn't imagine how strong Mo Xiaobai would be in the future. Of course, Wang Bin didn't know that Mo Xiaobai still had the giant spirit body and the legendary Skybaron breath slash. Mo Xiaobai saw Wang Bin's shocked expression and smiled. Teacher Wang, why don't we deal with these undead first? Wang Bin came back to his senses. That's true. The two of them began to kill the undead. Soon, Wang Bin was stunned again. He had only killed a few thousand undead, but Mo Xiaobai didn't seem to know the concept of exhaustion. His strength didn't decrease at all. Were the youngsters nowadays able to last so long? Wang Bin was dumbfounded. Not long after, Little Qing flew out of the forest with Yin Shui. Previously, after Mo Xiaobai had dismounted from Little Green's back, Little Green had brought Yin Shui into the forest to look for the gray-robed man. However, Mo Xiaobai glanced at Little Qing. There was only Yin Shui on his back. He guessed that the gray-robed man had run away. With the addition of Little Qing and Yin Shui, the speed of clearing the undead increased by a few notches. After seeing Yin Shui's battle prowess, Wang Bin felt as if he had eaten a lemon. 2 first-year freshmen were so scary. Was this the Akatsuki Academy? Why didn't their South Shore Academy have such a genius? If South Shore Academy had such a genius, he would wake up laughing in his dreams. Soon, more reinforcements arrived one after another. There were students from Akatsuki and South Shore Academy, as well as adventurers from nearby. In less than an hour, more than 100,000 undead were mostly cleared. The experts from Yongyang Town walked over. The commander of the guards was a middle-aged night creature. He saluted Mo Xiaobai, Wang Bin, and the others. Thank you for your hard work. On behalf of the people of Yongyang Town, I thank you for your help. After the experts from Yongyang Town expressed their gratitude, the group exchanged a few words and left Yongyang Town to continue their rescue efforts in other areas. After all, time was of the essence. North Blue City, Sioux family's ancestral tomb. The Sioux family's ancestral tomb was located in the Sioux family city, among the mountains outside Blazing Flame City. It occupied a huge area. Within the ancestral tomb, the cemetery was densely covered with stars. All the ancestors of the Sioux family, including Su Liang, were buried there. There were Sioux family experts guarding the borders of the ancestral tomb to prevent the ancestors' souls from being disturbed. At this moment, the patrolling Sioux family experts were conversing. Have you heard? I don't know why there are so many undead in the Empire. Yeah, I heard that there are undead in the entire Empire. It should be a hidden organization, right? I wonder what organization it is. I've never heard of it before. Since it's related to the undead, could it be that something happened in Dark Valley? Brother Sulan, do you know the situation? Everyone looked curiously at Sulan, who was leading the team. Sulan shook his head. It shouldn't be a problem in Dark Valley. Brother Su Yu is in the Night Watch Army. He said that Dark Valley is no different from before. There are no special movements. It's not Dark Valley? Then where did these undead come from? Everyone was curious. Who knows? Su Lan shook his head. All right, don't think too much. I heard that these undead aren't strong overall and can't affect the foundation of the empire. Besides, didn't the experts of the family go to support them? It won't be long before they can suppress the disaster. That's true. Yeah. Speaking of which, will the undead attack our Su family? A beautiful girl of the night blinked. What are you thinking? Fourth uncle is guarding the ancestral mausoleum. With him around, as long as it's not a sanctuary expert, what threat can they pose to our Su family? That's true. Everyone shook their heads and stopped thinking about it. As one of the top aristocratic families in the empire, the Su family had experienced many things. This disaster was nothing. In the deepest part of the Su family's ancestral mausoleum, there was a wide square at the bottom of a mountain range. On the square stood a majestic statue that was dozens of meters tall. The statue was a barbarian man wearing armor and holding a spear with a resolute face. Although it was just a statue, the powerful and domineering aura was still shocking. Behind the statue, there was a 5-meter-tall green stone door. The door was filled with traces of time, as if it had existed for tens of thousands of years. This was the tomb of the Su family's ancestor, Su Laiyang. In the depths of the tomb, in the spacious tomb hall, in the middle was a high platform with a red jade coffin placed on it. At this moment, a wisp of green mist suddenly appeared in the tomb hall. The mist condensed, and Wu Ming's body appeared. The green mist around him slowly retracted. Looking at the red jade coffin, the soul fire in his eyes flickered. Raging flame, spear saint. Su Laiyang. He. With a wave of his right hand, a somewhat illusory, pitch-black sword with a Rakshasa face carved on the hilt appeared. Clang! He placed the pitch-black sword in front of him and knelt on one knee. He whispered, "Great Master, please use your great power." Wong. A buzzing sound came from the shadow of the pitch-black sword. Then, a green flame burned on the sword, illuminating the originally dim tomb hall with a gloomy green light. Bang! In the next moment, the pitch-black sword shattered. The green flame soared and drilled into the red jade coffin. In the red jade coffin, a green light flickered. Not long after, with a bang, the coffin lid flew out. A pale hand was placed on the edge of the coffin. Then, a pale-skinned barbarian man slowly sat up from the coffin. In his eyes, a wisp of green flame burned. This man's face was exactly the same as the statue outside. It was Su Laiyang. Su Laiyang slowly got up. He stretched out his right hand, and a stone pillar on the side of the tomb hall shattered. A red spear flew into his hand. Wong. The red spear kept trembling, trying to break free from Su Laiyang's control. At this moment, wisps of green nether fire ignited from Su Laiyang's body and covered the red spear. After that, the spear's original crimson color slowly turned into a pale green color, and it no longer trembled. After subduing the red spear, the terrifying nether fire soared and enveloped Su Laiyang. The entire hall shook. Seeing this, Wu Ming was so excited that his soul fire jumped. He, as expected of a former Sacred Realm expert, just awakening, and he has the power of a 7th level. With a former hero, Master's plan will be a step further. Outside the Su family's ancestral tomb, the Tomb Keeper's house, a middle-aged man with short red hair sat on a wooden bed in the house. At this moment, he suddenly opened his eyes. There was a flash of fury in his eyes as crimson flames ignited around him, burning everything around him into powder. In the next moment, his body turned into flames and disappeared. He appeared in the air and looked at the deepest part of the ancestral tomb with his cold eyes. "Who are you? How dare you come to my Su family's ancestral tomb?" Flames flowed around his body as he rushed to the deepest part of the ancestral tomb. Su Lan and the others who were patrolling were shocked. "Fourth uncle, damn it, something happened. Let's go." They also rushed to the deepest part of the ancestral tomb. Su Liang's tomb, the tomb hall. A violent voice came from outside. Wu Ming looked at the entrance. The skeleton's mouth was open and green flames flowed around it. He. The Su family's experts are here. Let's retreat. He instantly appeared beside Su Liang. He reached into the nether fire and grabbed Su Liang's shoulder. The gray fog enveloped the two. In the next moment, the two disappeared from the tomb hall. The green flames dissipated and the tomb hall returned to normal. At this moment, a red flame rushed in from the passage and turned into a middle-aged man. When he saw the open coffin, the middle-aged man's face changed. He took a few steps to the coffin. When he saw the empty coffin, his body trembled and his face turned pale. Violent flames flowed out from his body. "Oh, damn bastard! Who is it?" His angry roar echoed throughout the ancestral tomb and shook the tomb. At this moment, Su Lan and the others rushed in. When they saw the scene in the tomb hall, their faces changed. "Fourth uncle," Su Lan called out. The middle-aged man slowly exhaled. He waved his right hand and closed the coffin lid again. Then, he turned to look at Su Lan and the others. Su Lan, inform the higher-ups of the family that something big has happened in the ancestral tomb. His mouth twitched, and his eyes flashed with violent, murderous intent. Su Lan and the others looked at the coffin where Su Liang's body was buried. Their eyes flashed with shock and disbelief. However, when they saw the middle-aged man full of murderous intent, they didn't ask and just nodded. Then, they turned around and left the tomb hall. The middle-aged man slowly exhaled. He clenched his fists and gritted his teeth. His eyes were filled with murderous intent. "No matter who you are, the Su family will not rest until you die." North Blue Region, River City. In the air and on the ground outside the city, the battle between the undead and the martial fundamentalists was extremely intense. On the ground outside the city, Su Yin wielded a scarlet spear. Flames revolved around her. Every time she swung her spear, the flames would surge and blast away the undead in her path, burning them to ashes. Behind her, Natsuki's staff flashed with green light. Wooden warriors stood guard on both sides. Vine entanglement, nature's grasp, nature's wrath, and various other origin skills were used continuously. They either killed the undead or healed the martial fundamentalists nearby. At this moment, Su Yin's body suddenly froze. She frowned and felt her chest throbbing. She clutched her chest with one hand, and the energy in her body fluctuated violently. Boom! A rank 6 undead skeleton knight swept its white-boned spear at Su Yin. Her expression changed as she hurriedly blocked with her spear. Clang! Su Yin's body flew backwards, and she spat out a mouthful of blood. Roar! The undead nearby roared and charged at Su Yin. At this moment, a series of violent green lightning bolts surged and blasted the undead's body. Boom, 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 boom. The shockwave spread and tore all the undead into pieces. Natsuki arrived beside Su Yin. With a wave of his staff, a green light entered Su Yin's body. Immediately, Su Yin's pale face became rosy. Natsuki looked at Su Yin in confusion. Yo-yo, what's wrong? Su Yin frowned. He panted for a moment and stood up with the support of his long spear. She turned her head and looked in the direction of the Su family. Her eyes were filled with fear and confusion. I don't know. I suddenly feel my heart palpitating. Something bad seems to have happened. Natsuki was stunned and also frowned. At their level, their cultivation was strong. If they felt their heart palpitating, it meant that something bad might have happened. Do you want to rest first? Su Yin opened her mouth and was about to speak when a low roar sounded. Just as the two of them were talking, the undead nearby rushed over again. Junior Natsuki, Junior Su Yin, are the two of you okay? Nearby, the other 6th grade students were blocking the undead and turned to look at the two of them. The undead attacking River City were not weak. There were quite a number of rank 5 and rank 6 undead. Natsuki and Su Yin were much stronger than most of the 6th grade students. When the two of them stopped, the pressure on the others increased. Su Yin sighed and gripped her spear tightly again. Flames flowed on the spear. She grinned and swung her long red hair, brandishing her spear. It's okay. Let's send these skeletons back to health first. There are strong people in the family, so it shouldn't be a big deal. Natsuki glanced at Su Yin, then nodded lightly. If you can't hold on, go rest at the back. I'll help you block them. Wah. Tong Tong. You underestimate me too much. Watch carefully. Suyin grinned when she heard this. Then, her eyes flashed with a trace of sharpness. She held her spear with both hands, and a violent aura surged. Wisps of flames surrounded her body and rose up. The surrounding temperature rose sharply. Roar! The flames around Su-yin condensed into the image of a dragon. A dragon roar sounded. Epic level origin skill, Flame Dragon Spear. Su-yin waved her spear, and a flame dragon more than 10 meters long rushed out. Everywhere it passed, the ground was scorched. All the undead were turned into charcoal and dissipated in the waves of fire. After the flame dragon disappeared, the area in front of Su-yin was swept clean, leaving only black ashes on the ground. The mighty momentum caused the surrounding strong people to look askance, their eyes filled with shock. Natsuki saw this and laughed lightly. The power of nature on his staff flashed, restoring Su-yin's exhausted origin power and stamina. After Su-yin and Natsuki rejoined the battle, the other people on the front line felt the pressure decrease greatly. They could not help but sigh in relief. Chapter 162. A day later. The northern green region, Ningyuan Town, in the open space outside the town. Boom! An iron plate corpse, over 4 meters tall and completely gray in color, landed a heavy punch on the shield of a human warrior. The shield immediately caved in, and the warrior paled. His arm shattered, causing blood to gush out. His body was directly blown away by the tremendous force. At this moment, Mo Xiaobai's heavy sword flickered with faint yellow light as he slashed out. A faint yellow streak of light shot through the air towards the iron plate corpse. Roar! Seeing how it was unable to dodge, the iron plate corpse's eyes shone with blood-red light. It raised its arms to block the streak of light. Swish! The yellow streak of light directly severed the iron plate corpse's arm, leaving behind a deep wound on its chest. Its body was blown away as well. As the iron plate corpse roared, a sharp arrow of frost shot through the air, piercing through the wound on its chest. Boom! The frost erupted. Immediately, the iron plate corpse's chest exploded. Ice crystals and gray blood sprayed out. The light in the iron plate corpse's eyes dispersed, and it collapsed heavily on the ground. Mo Xiaobai and Yin Shui exhaled. Their faces were rather pale. Beside Mo Xiaobai and Yin Shui, there was a young elf wearing yellow leather armor and holding a longbow, as well as a night creature girl wearing a black robe. The two of them were also pale, and their auras were weak. On the ground, a few more people had collapsed. They were all heavily injured. The battle prowess of a fourth rank iron plate corpse was much greater than the boss-level Nightmare Knight Mo Xiaobai had encountered the first time. If it were not for Mo Xiaobai, Yin Shui, and a few other 4-aperture body fundamentalists working together, they probably would have struggled to deal with it. After the iron plate corpse collapsed, the powerhouses of Ningyuan Town and the body fundamentalists who had come to reinforce them all walked over. Everyone was filled with gratitude and excitement, especially when they looked at Mo Xiaobai and Yin Shui. They were inexplicably shocked. Mo Xiaobai's cultivation was only at level 1-3 apertures, but his combat strength was the strongest among the group. Even a few 4 apertures body fundamentalists were no match for him. If they hadn't seen it with their own eyes, they wouldn't have believed it. Even Yin Shui, who was at the peak of 2 apertures, was not much weaker than several 4 apertures body fundamentalists. This made them doubt their lives. In particular, those peak 2-apertured and 3-apertured level 1 body fundamentalists were full of questions. Why was there such a huge gap between the same level of cultivation? What went wrong? Thank you so much, everyone. If it weren't for your help, I'm afraid that Ningyuan Town wouldn't have survived. On behalf of all the residents of Ningyuan Town, I thank you. The commander of Ningyuan Town's guards bowed to the crowd gratefully. Hee, you're welcome. If you really want to thank someone, you should thank Junior Mo Xiaobai. If it were just a few of us, I'm afraid we would have died here. The elven archer in yellow leather armor, Yufeng, shook his head with a wry smile. He looked at Mo Xiaobai with a complicated expression. He was also a student of Akatsuki, and he was already in his third year. However, as a third year, his combat strength was not even as good as the first year of Mo Xiaobai. To be honest, he still felt a little defeated. After all, anyone who could get into Akatsuki was a genius in the first place. In the end, the gap was so huge that it was hard for him to accept. On the side, the girl of the night, Yin Xinxua, also couldn't help but smile wryly. She was also a student of Akatsuki, and she was Yu Feng's companion. I never thought that Junior Mo Xiaobai would have mastered such a powerful legendary origin skill. It really makes us, the third-year seniors, feel ashamed. If it weren't for you, we wouldn't have been able to pose a fatal threat to this Iron Plate Corpse. This Iron Plate Corpse's defense was too strong. Mo Xiaobai smiled. Senior, you're too polite. I was just lucky. After all, he had exchanged the ancient crown for the Sky Baron Breath Slash. As for the ancient crown, he had picked it up purely by luck. When the others heard Mo Xiaobai's words, they were speechless. Lucky? He could obtain a legendary origin skill crystal just because he was lucky? What kind of luck was that? They obviously didn't believe it. After a few words of conversation, Mo Xiaobai, Yu Feng, and Yin Xinxua exchanged communication imprints and bid farewell to everyone. He and Yin Shui got on Little Green's back, and Little Green soared into the air, leaving Ningyu in town. Mo Xiaobai and Yin Shui both looked exhausted. In this day, they didn't rest much because they were clearing out the undead. Let's go back and rest. Mo Xiaobai looked at Yin Shui's tired face and said. A day had passed, and most of the undead in the nearby towns had been cleared out. The remaining undead wouldn't be much of a threat, so they didn't need to worry too much. As for the areas further away, there would definitely be other people taking care of them. Yin Shui heard and nodded lightly. Okay, Su family meeting room. The atmosphere was silent and oppressive. Su Ming's face was ugly, and his eyes were filled with disbelief. You're saying that besides our Su family, the bodies of the Wang family's ancestors were also stolen? Yes. Sitting at the head of the table was a berserker with short red hair. He was the current Su family's patriarch, Su Xin. He nodded, and his eyes were filled with murderous intent. Those bastards. What are they trying to do? The ancestors of these families were heroes of the 6 families. Desecrating the bodies of heroes was simply a heinous crime. The others were also high-ranking members of the Su family, and their faces were also filled with murderous intent. Su Xin looked at Su Ming. Fourth brother, after you entered the hall of the tomb, did you find any clues? Su Ming recalled the scene from before and frowned. When I entered the tomb, I felt a very strong power of death. It might be at the sacred level. Even among the sacred level, it's not weak. Sacred level? The others frowned as well, and their faces turned even uglier. There's a sacred level behind the undead calamity this time? Who is it? One of the mature and beautiful women from the Su family frowned as she looked at Su Xin. Patriarch and elders, why don't you report this to us? Sacred level. And to steal so many corpses of the sacred level. I'm afraid that the person behind this is after something big. This is a serious matter. The atmosphere fell into silence. Su Xin nodded slowly. Okay, I'll contact the Great Elder and the others later. Hopefully, they can spare some time. The others also nodded with a heavy expression on their faces. After a moment of silence, Su Ming said, I failed in my duty this time. I'm willing to accept the punishment. Su Xin looked at Su Ming. We'll talk about the punishment later. Let's deal with this first. Su Ming opened his mouth, but in the end, he did not say anything. He nodded slowly. Second brother, contact the Wang family and the others. Third brother, bring some people to investigate the person behind this. We should have caught a lot of small fish this time. Let's see if there's any useful information. Fourth brother, continue to keep an eye on the ancestral mausoleum. Su Xin gave the order. The others nodded and then left the meeting hall. The next morning, Mo Xiaobai woke up from his bed feeling refreshed. After returning home yesterday, she was too tired. After returning home, she took a shower and fell asleep directly on the bed. He slept for 12 hours. After getting out of bed, Mo Xiaobai stretched lazily. After washing up, he walked out of his room and went to Yin Shue's door. He knocked on the door, and it didn't take long before the door opened. Yin Shue's head poked out from the door. Her icy blue eyes were still a little dazed. Her hair was still a little messy, as if she had just woken up. When she saw Mo Xiaobai, she said flatly, "Why are you so early?" Mo Xiaobai smiled and said, "The early bird gets the worm." Yin Shui rolled her eyes and opened the door. "Come in." Mo Xiaobai laughed softly and walked into Yin Shue's dorm. Yin Shui was still wearing loose blue pajamas. Her snow-white shoulders were exposed, and her delicate collarbones could be seen. After she closed the door, she left Mo Xiao by his side and walked into the bathroom lazily. She did not have her usual valiance. Instead, she looked a little dazed. Mo Xiao did not mind. He walked into the living room and wandered around. This was his first time entering Yin Shue's dorm. Naturally, he had to take a good look. After a while, Yin Shui walked out of the bathroom. She had returned to her usual valiant self. Her icy blue eyes were shining. However, when she saw the cute white plushie in Mo Xiaobai's hands, her body froze and her face turned red. She walked over and snatched the plushie, putting it into her spatial ring. She glared at Mo Xiaobai and said, "Don't touch other people's things." Mo Xiaobai was stunned when he saw Yin Shue's blushing face. Then, the corner of his lips curled up into a grin. "So you like this kind of plushie?" "I couldn't tell. It's so cute." Yin Shui froze. Then, she glared at Mo Xiaobai coldly, as if she wanted to kill Mo Xiaobai with her gaze. Mo Xiaobai was very thick-skinned. He did not care at all. However, he did not continue on this topic. He would just tease her a little. If he went overboard, she might really beat him to death in anger. Are you hungry? Let's go for breakfast." "I'm not hungry. I'm not eating." Yin Shui felt that she was full of anger. Mo Xiaobai smiled as he pushed Yin Shue's shoulder and walked out. "Don't be angry. Let's go. It's my treat. Eat whatever you want. Just take it that I said something wrong. I apologize to you." Yin Shui rolled her eyes and broke free from Mo Xiaobai's grip. "Don't push me. I can walk by myself." Mo Xiaobai shrugged and followed Yin Shui out of the dorm. On the second floor of the cafeteria, Mo Xiaobai and Yin Shui sat in the corner by the window. In front of Yin Shui were 3 exquisite cakes that were shining with blue light. They were all rare-grade origin eaters. Yin Shui glared at Mo Xiaobai and took a bite of the cake. She looked fierce. Mo Xiaobai looked at Yin Shui, who was still angry, in amusement. The better their relationship was, the more childish this fellow was showing. The original Mo Xiaobai had never thought that Yin Shui would have such a side to her. The first time he saw Yin Shui in the Chumi trial, she was like a giant ice cube. However, he did not expect this girl to like desserts like cakes so much. Every time he came to the cafeteria with Yin Shui, she always liked to order desserts. There were many students in the cafeteria. Everyone was talking about the undead calamity for the past 2 days. "It's finally over. I'm so tired. Aren't I tired too? I wonder who caused this undead calamity. I don't know who it is, but I know that person must be a lunatic. I heard that after this calamity ended, more than 10 towns in the empire were destroyed. There were almost no survivors. At least tens of millions of people died in this undead calamity." Well, lunatic. Everyone sighed. Even Mo Xiaobai and Yin Shui frowned when they heard this. In the face of such a calamity, the lives of ordinary people were too fragile. There must be someone behind this undead calamity. Isn't that obvious? Have you heard? It seems that a few hero families have met with trouble in this undead calamity. Everyone's eyes widened in shock. Hero families? What happened? The person behind this actually dared to attack the hero families? Mo Xiaobai and Yin Shui paused and looked at each other. I don't know the details. It seems that a few hero families are investigating this undead calamity like crazy. Bang! At this moment, a handsome purple-haired youth slammed the table and stood up. He looked coldly at the person who spoke just now. What's the point of gossiping? If you have the ability, come with me to the martial arts arena. As he spoke, wisps of lightning energy flowed around him. He had a cultivation of 5 orifices and his aura was extremely strong. Mo Xiaobai could not help but be surprised. Very strong. After seeing this purple-haired youth, the person who was speaking just now immediately fell silent and lowered his head. The purple-haired youth glanced at him with a cold glint in his eyes. "If you dare to gossip again, I won't let you off." With that, he left the cafeteria. After the purple-haired youth left the cafeteria, everyone finally heaved a sigh of relief. Then, a few of them distanced themselves from the person who spoke just now. They did not dare to gossip anymore. Mo Xiaobai asked doubtfully, "Who was that person just now?" His aura was so strong. Just from his aura, it could be seen that the purple-haired youth was definitely a genius. Yin Shui glanced at Mo Xiaobai, her eyes full of disdain. "He's from the Wang family, a fourth-year student like Serene. He seems to be ranked quite high on the leaderboard." Upon hearing this, Mo Xiaobai asked curiously, "The Wang family? The Wang family of the Thunder Berserker? What's his name?" Yin Shui, Mo Xiaobai, the two of them stared at each other. After more than 10 seconds, Yin Shui lowered her head and ate a bite of the cake. It tastes good." Mo Xiaobai's mouth twitched. This girl must have forgotten the purple-haired youth's name, right? Mo Xiaobai did not dwell on this question. He frowned slightly and asked, "Is what that person said true?" Yin Shui paused. After a moment of silence, she said, "I don't know." The two of them looked at each other. Then Mo Xiaobai said, just in time, "Our armor is a little damaged. Let's get Sister Een to fix it later." Yin Shui nodded. "Okay." After breakfast, Mo Xiaobai and Yin Shui walked out of the cafeteria and headed to the Natsuki building. When the two of them reached the building and were about to enter, they suddenly heard a loud noise coming from the building. Then, on the first floor of the building, balls of terrifying flames surged out of the door. The scorching heat forced Mo Xiaobai and Yin Shui to retreat quickly. Mo Xiaobai and Yin Shui looked at each other. It seemed that what that person said was true. Something seemed to have happened to the Su family. After a while, the flames slowly extinguished. Mo Xiaobai and Yin Shui looked at each other and walked into the building. In the hall on the first floor, the counters were all shattered. The bottles were all broken, and the medicine inside had evaporated from the high temperature. Cracks spread across the floor like a spider web. Inside, Su Yin's body trembled slightly. Flames burned all over her body, and her violent aura fluctuated. Natsuki stood to the side and comforted Su Yin softly. After seeing Mo Xiaobai and Yin Shui walk in, Natsuki nodded lightly. She reached out and patted Su Yin's back. "Don't worry, this is a big matter. The upper echelons of the empire will definitely take care of it. I've already notified the Yin family. They will also help." Su Yin bit her lower lip. Blood flowed out, and her eyes reddened. "There's no use being sad now. Don't worry, everything will be fine." Natsuki's gentle words calmed Su Yin down. She exhaled, and the flames around her body slowly calmed down. However, her eyes were filled with cold, killing intent. "I want to burn the bones of the person behind the scenes to ashes." Mo Xiaobai and Yin Shui looked at each other. What exactly did that organization do to incur the wrath of the heavens and the resentment of the people to make Su Yin so angry? Chapter 163. After a while, in the living room on the second floor of Natsuki's medicine refinery building. "What? The corpse of the blazing spear, Saint, is actually—" Mo Xiaobai and Yin Shui both opened their eyes wide and exclaimed. Su Yin slowly nodded, her eyes flashing with anger. Mo Xiaobai and Yin Shui looked at each other in disbelief. The corpse of the Su family's ancestor, the blazing spear saint, Su Liang, was actually stolen? No wonder Su Yin was so angry. Mo Xiaobai frowned. His heart was also burning with anger. Su Liang was a hero of the 6 families, but he couldn't even rest in peace after his death. Even if he wasn't a hero, the dead should still be respected. The person behind the scenes actually stole the corpse. This was simply heartless. Su Yin said in a low voice, "Not only our Su family, the Wang family, Luo family, Lin family, and other families' ancestors' corpses are also missing." Mo Xiaobai and Yin Shui were both stunned. Yin Shui frowned and said, "Then why did the person behind the undead take the corpses of these heroes?" Mo Xiao Bai thought of something and opened his eyes wide. "Don't tell me they're not planning to resurrect the corpses of these sacred heroes into undead, right?" Su Yin exhaled. "My family's elders also guessed this. It's very likely that they're resurrecting the corpses into undead." Hearing Su Yin's words, the atmosphere instantly became silent. The heroes of the 6 families at the end of the Golden Age were actually resurrected into undead. Everyone felt a wave of depression in their hearts, especially when Su Yin's ancestor was among them. It made their hearts even heavier. After a moment of silence, Su Yin gritted her teeth and said, "No matter what, when we find the person behind the scenes, I'll definitely burn his bones and scatter his ashes." Su Yin's words made Mo Xiao Bai think of something. His eyes lit up, and he said, "Oh right, yesterday we caught 2 gray-robed men who could summon undead. They might be members of that organization." Hearing this, both Su Yin and Nat Su Qi raised their heads. Su Yin quickly asked, "Where?" "Yesterday, because we were in a hurry to rescue the town, we left the 2 gray-robed men in North Ridge Town. I even reminded the people of North Ridge Town to interrogate them." Hearing this, Su Yin stood up abruptly. "Let's go to North Ridge Town and take a look." Mo Xiao Bai nodded. "Okay, let's go." The 4 of them left the room, and Natsu Ki took out the Origin mechanical car from before. After getting on the car, the mechanical car started and instantly turned into a stream of light, disappearing from the spot. Mo Xiao Bai once again experienced the fear of being dominated by Natsu Ki's driving skills. In a short 20 minutes, the Force motorcycle stopped in front of the Azure Blade branch in North Ridge Town. After Mo Xiao Bai got off the motorcycle, he felt his legs trembling. "Is it here?" Su Yin looked at the small white building with a small courtyard in front of her, feeling a little excited. Mo Xiao Bai nodded. "Yes, I contacted the Deputy Army Commander of North Ridge Town earlier, and he said it's here." "Then let's go in." Su Yin nodded, walked through the courtyard, pushed open the door, and walked in. "Welcome." Just like the Azure Blade branch in Pingxi Town, there were 2 receptionists in the hall. After seeing Mo Xiao Bai and the other 3 enter, the 2 of them greeted them with a smile. Su Yin nodded and walked up the stairs at the side. Mo Xiao Bai and the other 2 followed Su Yin up the stairs. Azure Blade branch, 2nd floor, door of the interrogation room. Wu Bufan, ice cream, and Azure Blade branch head Yang Hongji looked at the arrogant and handsome night creature man in front of them, and their expressions were a little ugly. The corner of Yang Hongji's mouth twitched, and he smiled bitterly. "Representative Liu, we really didn't catch these 2 cult members. You can't take them away." Liu Yulong looked a little impatient, and he waved his hand slightly. "No matter who caught them, since they're in Azure Blade, as the representative of Azure Blade's headquarters, I can take them away." Wu Bufan and the other 2's lips twitched, and then Wu Bufan said, "Sir Liu, these 2 cult members are just being interrogated in Azure Blade. If you're not satisfied, we'll take them to the Defense Army's headquarters." Liu Yulong frowned even harder. He glanced at Wu Bufan, and his voice was a little gloomy. "Army Commander Wu, this is an internal matter of Azure Blade. As a member of the Defense Army, it's better for you not to interfere, or else. I have a good relationship with Army Commander Ma from Crimson Orchid City, and I don't mind talking to him." Wu Bufan and Ice Cream's expressions were ugly. Ice Cream clenched his fists and stared at Liu Yulong. "You're abusing your authority." These 2 cult members were caught by Mo Xiao Bai and Yin Shui. Ignoring the fact that Mo Xiao Bai and Yin Shui's status and talent deserve their attention, just the fact that Mo Xiao Bai and Yin Shui saved North Ridge Town meant that they couldn't just watch Liu Yulong take these 2 cult members away. Hearing Ice Cream's words, Liu Yulong's eyes flashed coldly, and he looked at Ice Cream coldly. "Vice Army Commander Ice Cream, watch your words. The higher-ups are taking this undead calamity very seriously, and as long as they find cult members, they must be brought back to the headquarters for interrogation. Every word I say to you here is a waste of time. Can you afford to take responsibility for wasting the time of the higher-ups?" Seeing this, Yang Hongji didn't pretend to be a coward anymore, and he sneered. Representative Liu, I've already said that the people who caught these 2 cult members will be here immediately. You can afford to wait, right? Lu Yulong's eyes flashed, and he looked coldly at the 3 of them. Since they're not in Northridge Town, they'll take a long time to get here. I'll take these 2 cult members away first, and you can inform them when the time comes. Don't worry, I'll give them a reward when the time comes. What kind of joke was this? The higher-ups were taking this undead calamity very seriously, and if they could bring back 2 cult members, the reward would definitely be great. Why would he wait here? This reward naturally had to be in his own hands. As for how much he would give to the 2 Akatsuki Academy students who caught the gray-robed man, wasn't it up to him? Hearing Lu Yulong's words, Wu Bufan and the other 2 were so angry that they laughed. This bastard was simply shameless. He made it sound so dignified, but wasn't it all for the sake of pocketing the reward? However, Lu Yulong's cultivation was far higher than the 3 of them, and he was a rank 5 powerhouse. They couldn't stop him at all. Even if Mo Xiaobai and Yin Shui came over, they wouldn't be able to stop him. The 3 of them looked at the increasingly impatient Lu Yulong, and their faces turned ugly. At this moment, Su Yin walked over, and behind her were Mo Xiaobai and the other 2. After seeing Mo Xiaobai and Yin Shui, Wu Bufan and the other 2's eyes lit up, and they smiled. Mo Xiaobai, Yin Shui, you guys arrived so quickly? Mo Xiaobai smiled and nodded. Then he turned to look at Lu Yulong. They had heard most of what they had said when they came over. Lu Yulong saw that the main character had arrived, and his face turned ugly. Just as he was about to speak, Su Yin's body had already disappeared. In the next moment, she appeared in front of Lu Yulong, and her ruby-like eyes were burning with anger. She kicked Lu Yulong's chest. Boom! Lu Yulong's cultivation was lower than Su Yin's, and there was a huge gap between the 2 of them. He didn't even have time to react, and his body flew out and hit the wall. He spat out a mouthful of blood and fell to the ground. The 2 Azure Blade employees behind Lu Yulong were dumbfounded when they saw this scene. One of the male elves opened his eyes wide and shouted angrily, "What are you doing? Do you know who young Master Lu is?" Mo Xiaobai, Yin Shui, Natsuki. Su Yin heard this, and the corners of her mouth cracked open. She clenched her fists and rushed forward. Bang! 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 Stop! Stop fighting! Spare me! Spare me! Woo! Muffled sounds of hitting and cries for mercy could be heard. Wu Bufan, Ice Cream, and Yang Hongji looked at Lu Yulong and the rest, and their faces turned pale. Wu Bufan swallowed his saliva and turned to Mo Xiaobai. Mo Xiaobai, do this. He pointed at Su Yin and the rest and didn't know what to say. Mo Xiaobai heard this and smiled. It's okay. Let her vent. You guys won't be in trouble. Don't worry. Vent? The 3 of them were confused. Mo Xiaobai looked at their confused faces and only smiled but didn't explain. Su Yin was still angry because of Su Liang's incident. This Lu Yulong happened to be at the tip of the spear, so he could only blame himself for being unlucky. Letting Su Yin vent would make her feel better. Natsuki didn't stop them, and only used the power of nature from time to time to heal Lu Yulong and the rest. Otherwise, with Su Yin's current state of rage, how could Lu Yulong and the rest withstand it? They might really be beaten to death. After a while, Lu Yulong and the rest couldn't even scream, and only laid on the ground shivering, covered with wounds, and had a look of fear and despair. After Su Yin vented, her mood calmed down a little, and she looked at Lu Yulong and the rest. The 3 of them suddenly trembled violently, and looked at Su Yin in horror, and moved their limbs, wanting to crawl back and escape from the hands of this demon. Su Yin retracted her gaze and walked back. When she passed by Wu Bufan and the rest, their faces were pale, and they took a step back. In their eyes, this beautiful barbarian girl was simply a terrifying demon from the abyss. Wasn't she too scary? That beautiful elf girl was also very scary. Every time Lu Yulong and the rest were about to faint, she would purposely heal them. Simply cruel and heartless. Just as they were thinking this, Mo Xiaobai walked forward and smiled at Wu Bufan and the rest. The three of them swallowed their saliva. Now, in their eyes, Mo Xiaobai, who was supposed to be their savior, was smiling like a demon. They were panicking. Army Commander Wu, how did the interrogation go? Wu Bufan came back to his senses. He said apologetically, "These two cult members have received professional training, and we can only find out that they are from an organization called Death Cult." Death Cult. Mo Xiaobai and the rest frowned. Suyin slowly said, "I've never heard of this cult." Natsu Ki also shook his head. "Neither have I." Yin Shui didn't say anything, but also shook his head. "It's normal that you haven't heard of it." Wu Bufan said with a smile, "This cult seems to have only been established for a few months." Only been established for a few months? Mo Xiaobai's eyes widened. They've only been established for a few months, and they're already so powerful? One had to know that this was an undead calamity that affected the entire empire's 3 regions. Not only the northern Green region, but the Xia and Tianyu regions were also affected. Although the empire didn't know much about the death cult, they didn't take precautions. However, to be able to cause such a huge commotion, it didn't seem like a newly established cult. Wu Bufan bitterly smiled and said, "Although this is a newly established cult, from the words of these 2 cult members, there are many experts in the death cult, and their master is very mysterious." Very mysterious. When Mo Xiaobai and the others heard this, their hearts sank. Even the cult members felt that their master was very mysterious. Evidently, it was much harder to find a mastermind than they had imagined. Student Mo Xiaobai, this is all the information we've obtained from interrogating them. Mo Xiaobai nodded and smiled. "Sorry to trouble you." "It's no trouble at all. You guys saved our North Ridge town. This is something we should do." Wu Bufan waved his hand. At this moment, Su Yin walked over. Wu Bufan and the others shrunk their necks and didn't dare to speak. Su Yin didn't mind. She looked at Mo Xiaobai and said, "Xiaobai, let's take these 2 cult members away." "Okay, let's take them away." Mo Xiaobai nodded. With Su Yin's aristocratic family, she definitely had more methods than Wu Bufan and the others. They should be able to get more information from interrogating them. Hearing Mo Xiaobai's words, Wu Bufan hurriedly opened the door of the interrogation room. Soon, he walked out with 2 heavily injured gray-robed men. The 2 gray-robed people looked lost. No one knew what they had experienced. Su Yin carried the 2 of them and said impatiently, "Let's go back." "Okay." The 3 of them nodded. Army Commander Wu, Deputy Army Commander Bing, Department Head Yang, "Sorry to disturb you guys. We'll go back first." Wu Bufan blinked and pointed at Lu Yulong and the other 2 who were shivering on the ground. He was dumbfounded. "Well, what about them?" Mu Xiaodong flipped her long green hair and revealed a gentle smile. "Just throw them out," said Yi Zichen. Wu Bufan and the others. What the hell was she saying with such a gentle face? She was indeed a devil. They felt a chill run down their spine. Natsu Ki continued, "I'll take care of the rest. You guys can do as you see fit." Wu Bufan and the others nodded. Mo Xiaobai and the others went downstairs and left the blue edge branch under the curious gazes of the 2 receptionists. Because there were 2 more gray-robed people, there wasn't enough space in the force mechanical car. Natsu Ki took out another vehicle. It was a huge gray force mechanical car. It was very spacious and could fit more than 10 people. Mo Xiaobai was very curious. Why did Natsu Ki always like to drive? Wasn't it good to ride a mount? However, seeing the wild smile on Natsu Ki's gentle face, he didn't dare to ask. Chapter 164. On the way, Natsu Ki contacted someone to deal with Lu Yulong's follow-up issues. Su Yin also contacted the Su family and said that she had found 2 members of the evil cult. After Su Yin ended the call, she said, "I've already told my family. I've already informed my family. Someone will be waiting for us at the school gate." Mo Xiaobai and the other 2 nodded. This truck was slower than the previous model of the force car, but it was still very fast. After an hour, Mo Xiaobai and the other 2 arrived at the school. There were a few red-haired people waiting at the school gate. Judging by the color of their hair, They were obviously from the Su family. The few of them carried the two men in gray robes out of the truck, and the Su family members walked over. The leader was a middle-aged man with a resolute face. He was obviously a merman, but his body was very tall and strong. Third uncle. Su-in greeted him. These two are the evil cult members of the death cult. The middle-aged man glanced at the two men in gray robes. Are they the ones? I know. They will say what they need to say. Su-in nodded. These two men in gray robes were caught by Xiao Bai and little Shue. It's all thanks to them. Hearing Su Yin's words, the middle-aged man glanced at Mo Xiao Bai and Yin Shui and revealed a gentle smile. Mo Xiao Bai and Yin Shui, right? Heroes come from the young. They have such strength in their first year. As a member of the Su family, they naturally knew a little about the geniuses in Akatsuki, one of the three big families. Moreover, Mo Xiao Bai and Yin Shui were not ordinary geniuses. Yin Shui was the first daughter of the Yin family, but Mo Xiao Bai shocked the middle-aged man. To be able to achieve this without the support of a powerful family, he was indeed not an ordinary person. My name is Suja. You are Yo-Yo's friends. You can also call me Third Uncle. Hello, Third Uncle. Mo Xiao Bai greeted Yin Shui. Suja smiled and nodded. Thank you so much for helping these two cultists this time. They came in a hurry and didn't bring anything. I'll get someone to bring you some gifts later. Mo Xiao Bai and Yin Shui both smiled and nodded. After chatting for a while, Suja left in a hurry with his men. Su-in only retracted her gaze when Suja's car disappeared into the horizon. In the next moment, Su-in reached out and hugged Mo Xiao Bai. Xiao Bai Bai, thank you so much. Yin Shui. Natsu Ki. When the two of them saw this scene, they were both stunned and somewhat dumbfounded. While the two of them were still in a daze, Su-in let go of Mo Xiao Bai. Mo Xiao Bai took a deep breath, still feeling a lingering fear. He thought that he would suffocate to death. Su-in saw the lingering fear on Mo Xiao Bai's face and revealed a mischievous smile. Did you enjoy it? Big Sister's special service. Mo Xiao Bai looked at the evil smile on Su Yin's face and the corners of his mouth twitched. This fellow's mental state recovered quickly. Before he could say anything, Yin Shui said calmly, "Don't worry. Sister Yin, it's easy for people to misunderstand you." She didn't know why, but she felt a little unhappy. When Su-in heard this, she looked at Yin Shui's expressionless face and laughed. Little Shui, are you jealous? I'll definitely treat you equally. As she spoke, she ran in front of Yin Shui. Yin Shui seemed to understand what Su-in wanted to do. She widened her eyes. Su-in smiled wretchedly like an uncle and pinched Yin Shui's little face. Little Shui, is much cuter than Xiao Bai Bai. Mo Xiao Bai, he was offended. He said unhappily, I'm handsome. How can you say that I'm cute? Narcissistic. Yin Shui sneered and looked at Mo Xiao Bai with disdain. Su-in patted Mo Xiao Bai's shoulder casually. You're not even fully grown, yet you're still handsome. Mo Xiao Bai's mouth twitched violently. Damn it, he was sure. Cough, cough. Sister Yin, you're too much. Sister Xiaodong is the best. He turned to look at Natsu Ki, who was smiling. Natsu Ki flipped her long hair and smiled. All right, so many people are watching. Pay attention to your image. At this moment, Mo Xiao Bai, Yin Shui, and Su-in regained their senses. Mo Xiao Bai turned and saw that the students coming and going at the school gate were sneaking glances at Mo Xiao Bai and the others. Their expressions were very strange. Yin Shui's face instantly turned red. Su-in widened her eyes and glared at the people who were peeking. What are you looking at? Her sharp gaze made everyone turn their heads. Su-in pouted. Mo Xiao Bai scratched his head. Let's go back. The four of them entered the school and arrived at Natsu Ki's medicine refining hut. Because of Su Yin's anger, the first floor of the medicine refining hut was almost destroyed. Seeing the ruins, Su-in looked embarrassed. Tong, I'm sorry. I couldn't control myself. Natsu Ki didn't seem to care. She smiled. It's okay. It's just some medicine. As long as you're okay. Tong is the best. Su-in smiled and hugged Natsu Ki. Mo Xiao Bai. He looked at the clingy Su-in and Natsu-ki, and his heart twitched. Some medicine? There were hundreds of bottles of flawless medicine on the counter before. Some of them were very precious. How many credits would be burned away by this fire? His heart ached. Two prodigal women. Yin Shui said softly, "Let's clean up together." Then, Imo Xiaobai and the others cleaned up the mess. Shaha District, the deepest part of the Death Underground Palace, Death Hall. On the innermost platform of the hall, there was a huge throne made of white bones. A tall man in a black hooded cloak was sitting on the white bone throne. He held a Rakshasa sword with both hands. Under the hood, a strand of gray hair danced. He raised his head slightly, revealing his handsome face. There was a sinister light in his gray eyes. Below the high platform stood many strange creatures and undead. Lich Wu Ming and Su Liang, who had been resurrected as an undead, were all there. Apart from them, there were also death knights in black armor, ferocious ghouls, death wizards in black robes, and so on. The tall man's gaze swept across everyone below the platform. The corners of his mouth curled up, revealing a sinister and wild smile. Wu Ming, Yu Chong, Shi Ling, you did well. Lich Wu Ming, Death Knight Yu Chong, and Shi Ling all knelt on the ground. For the great master. The tall man's lips curled up, revealing a smile. Then, green flames began to burn in the eye sockets of the Rakshasa ghost face on the handle of the pitch-black sword he was leaning on. In the next moment, wisps of green light merged into the bodies of the three people kneeling on the ground. The three of them trembled, and their auras instantly skyrocketed. Soon, the green light dissipated. The three of them looked up at the tall man with excited expressions. "Thank you for your gift, master." When the others saw this, they revealed looks of envy and jealousy. "Get up." The tall man turned to look at Su Liang and the others. "You have just awakened. Recover your strength first. We will talk again when you have recovered to the saint level." Green flames burned in the eyes of Su Liang and the others. They all knelt on one knee, and a low voice sounded. "Yes, great master. Ha, ha ha ha, ha 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 ha." The tall man's gaze swept across Su Liang and the others, and he raised his head and laughed. Then he waved his hand slightly. "All right, you may leave first." Everyone bowed and left. Soon, the tall man was the only one left in the hall. The death hall fell into silence. A moment later, the sword in the tall man's hand suddenly vibrated and let out a buzzing sound. The eyes of the Rakshasa ghost face burned with green flames again. An illusory voice came from the Rakshasa ghost face. "How was it? Did you gain a lot from this trip to the netherworld? Otherwise, you wouldn't have been able to get a good saint-level corpse." The tall man chuckled. It was indeed very smooth this time. The illusory voice sounded again. "Next, you just need to lay low and wait for the right time. Death will definitely come, and you will also rule over the azure." Hearing this, the tall man's eyes flashed, and a trace of cold hatred flashed in his eyes. The hatred quickly disappeared, and the tall man's lips curled up. "The Empire is sick. It is indeed time for a cleansing. Oomph. I have already helped you take a big step forward. Don't forget our deal. Don't worry, I will keep my promise. I have consumed a lot this time. Find me more food. The seeds I planted last time have already borne fruit. Souls full of resentment. Are they to your liking? Not bad. That's good." Deep in the Death Palace, the conversation between the man and the sword slowly subsided. A day later, in the Su family, Suja hurriedly walked out of the dungeon with a trace of excitement on his face. He took out the communication crystal and contacted Su Xian. Soon, Su Xian's voice came from the crystal. "Third brother, how is it? We have found a stronghold of the death cult." "Really?" Su Xian's voice was a little surprised. "Yes. How are the other families?" "There are not many people in gray robes caught this time. Only the Wang family and the Lin family are interrogating them. The Empire's military also caught a few and are still interrogating them. We should be the fastest." Hearing this, Suja's lips curled up into a smile. "This is all thanks to Yo-Yo's two classmates." "Ha ha!" Su Xian also laughed. I will inform the other families now and prepare to go to the stronghold. Okay, half a day later, North Green District, somewhere in the Moonlight Forest. Su Zhe, Su Ming, and a group of powerhouses from the Su family and other families stood in front of a seemingly ordinary cave. A beautiful young woman with long purple hair looked at the cave and frowned slightly. Su Zhe, are you sure it is here? Why don't we go in and see? Su Zhe took the lead and walked into the cave. After a while, they came to the deepest part of the cave. Su Zhe recalled the information he got from the man in gray robes. He opened the mechanism on the stone wall. Boom! Suddenly, the stone wall at the end of the cave shook and revealed the passage inside. Seeing this, everyone revealed vigilant expressions and their bodies tensed up. It's here. Don't let any of them escape. Make them pay. Everyone's face was cold and gloomy. They were the victims of the stolen bodies of their ancestors. At this moment, they wanted to skin the members of the death cult alive. Everyone rushed into the passage and soon came to the hall in the deepest part of the cave. However, the hall was empty and there was not a single person in sight. Everyone's face suddenly became very unpleasant. Damn it, they really left. A merman punched the wall, causing the entire hall to shake. Before they came, they had already guessed it. Now that they saw that the stronghold was empty, they found it hard to accept. At this moment, wisps of green mist moved and formed the shadow of a lich in the middle of the hall. Wu Ming laughed arrogantly. Hee hee, we will be back and wait for the next death. Boom! A ball of flame swept past Wu Ming's shadow, and it instantly shattered. Only his arrogant voice echoed in the cave. Everyone's face became even more unpleasant. Chapter 165. Akatsuki Academy. Mo Xiaobai and Yin Shui arrived at Natsuki's small building for refining medicine. After yesterday's tidying up, the small building had been restored to its original state. Su Yin and Natsuki were arranging the new medicine. When she saw Mo Xiaobai and Yin Shui arrive, Su Yin immediately smiled and waved her hand. You're here. Mo Xiaobai smiled and said, Sister Yin, why did you suddenly call us over? Is there something urgent? Su Yin smiled and said, It's nothing urgent. My family's elders asked me to bring you some gifts to thank you. As she spoke, she took out 2 origin skill crystals that flickered with golden light. Here, one for each of you. Mo Xiaobai looked at the legendary origin skill crystals that Su Yin handed over and widened his eyes slightly. Legendary origin skill crystals? Isn't that too expensive? Compared to those 2 gray-robed men, it's nothing. Su Yin smiled and waved her hand. The corner of Mo Xiaobai's mouth twitched. As expected of the Su family, they were truly filthy rich. Legendary origin skill crystals were nothing. Since Su Yin had said so, Mo Xiaobai naturally didn't argue and directly put away the origin skill crystals. He had gained yet another legendary origin skill. The problem was that legendary origin skills consumed too much origin power. He didn't have that much origin power to use. Yin Shui naturally put away the origin skill crystals as well. Then she asked, Sister Yin, what's the situation with the cult of death? Hearing this, Su Yin's expression became serious. Before you came, my third uncle sent me a message saying that the stronghold he interrogated had already been emptied. Hearing this, both Mo Xiaobai and Yin Shui fell silent. It was obvious that the cult of death had been prepared for this. After stealing the corpses of the saints, they immediately retreated. Their actions were decisive and didn't leave any opportunities. Mo Xiaobai glanced at the white light around him. When his cultivation was a bit higher and the range of the white light was a bit wider, he might have a chance to find them. However, that wasn't very realistic right now. The Azure continent was too big. With the range of the white light, he wouldn't be able to find them even after a few hundred years. He didn't think too much about it. Seeing that the atmosphere was a bit silent, Su Yin smiled. All right, I'm feeling better now. Don't think too much. Natsuki smiled and said, Since you're here, let's have dinner together. Hearing this, Mo Xiaobai and Yin Shui's eyes lit up. He was very happy that he could eat Sister Xiaotong's delicious food again. All right, Mo Xiaobai thought of something and said, Sister Yin, My battle armor is a little damaged. Help me repair it. Serene grinned. No problem. Let me see the armor. Mo Xiaobai took out the Dark Knight Guardian armor and handed it to Serene. Serene looked and smiled. The damage isn't serious. The repair fee is 10,000 credits. How generous. The corner of Mo Xiaobai's mouth twitched. Damn expensive. Yin Shui also took out her armor. Sister Yin, help me repair it too. Su Yin took the armor. Xiao Shui won't take the money. Mo Xiaobai's eyes widened. Why? Su Yin glanced at Mo Xiaobai. Your guy. You're not as cute as Xiao Shui. Mo Xiaobai. This was definitely sexist, right? Natsu Qin narrowed her eyes and smiled at Mo Xiaobai. Xiaobai, if you don't have enough credits, then hurry up and try the medicine. You just broke through to the 3rd aperture. You could try the 3rd rank medicine. Mo Xiaobai. Oh. A week later, north of Beiqing, Anling Town. Screech. An eagle's cry rang out. A streak of green light descended from the sky and stopped in front of the Dark Forest Adventure Center. Mo Xiaobai got off Little Green's back and walked toward the Adventure Center. Along the way, many adventurers widened their eyes, their gazes flickering. So young. He has a peak rank 3 boss level wind feather eagle as his mount. Which family is this genius from? He's so young, and he came to the Dark Forest alone? How dare he? How can his family's elders not worry? Mo Xiaobai didn't care about other people's attention. After entering the Adventure Center, he went straight to the ticket office. He smiled at the staff and said, "Hello, I want to buy a pass to the Dark Forest." The staff at the ticket office was a sweet-looking human girl with a round face and big eyes. After seeing Mo Xiaobai's young face, she froze for a moment before smiling. "Hello, the Dark Forest is a rank 3 Nightmare Void domain. You need a Bronze Adventurer badge to buy a pass. Please show me your badge." Mo Xiaobai nodded and handed the badge to the girl. The girl took the badge and operated the machine. Her eyes widened as she looked at Mo Xiaobai. "You're only 17? Yes. Is there a problem?" The girl came back to her senses and quickly shook her head. Her eyes were shining. "You're so young, and you're about to become a silver adventurer. You're amazing." The machine showed that Mo Xiaobai's bronze adventurer points were full. As long as he completed 5 more silver missions, he would become a silver adventurer. For a 17-year-old boy, this was terrifying. She had worked here for a few years and had never met such a young bronze adventurer. Mo Xiaobai smiled and said, "You flatter me. Wasn't he just a bronze adventurer?" Mo Xiaobai didn't think much of it. After all, he had never been able to increase his adventurer level. Unknowingly, he had become so high. The fee is 5,000 origin crystals. Mo Xiaobai nodded. After all, it was a rank 3 Nightmare Void domain. The high fee was expected. After paying the fee, the girl smiled and said, "There's a dark forest in the Dark Forest. There are dark demon leaders in the Forest of Darkness. Please be careful." "Thanks for the reminder. I'll be careful." Mo Xiaobai smiled, took the pass, and turned to leave. Soon, Mo Xiaobai passed through the guard's inspection and entered the dark spatial vortex. The next moment, Mo Xiaobai appeared in the encampment's plaza. The dark forest sky was covered by dark clouds. The entire void domain was dark, and even the encampment was the same. It was said that some areas were shrouded in darkness all year round. The environment was very bad. Of course, the bad environment wasn't fatal. What was fatal was the monsters and demons here. As a nightmare void domain, the monsters and demons in the dark forest were all elite and above. There were many bosses, and the most powerful ones were the demon leaders. The danger level was extremely high. Only those with 3 orifices could survive here, and they had to form a team. It was rare to see someone like Mo Xiaobai come here alone. Of course, Mo Xiaobai didn't care about this. After all, he could see the line of misfortune. Even if there was danger, he could avoid it in time. Unless he wanted to go to a dangerous place himself, it wouldn't be his turn to be in danger. He looked at the dark sky and was looking forward to it. He hoped that he could find something today. The Dark Forest was the closest nightmare void domain to Akatsuki Academy. He came here to see if there were any void treasures and if he could find a flawless intermediate origin refining technique. He quickly left the plaza and soon arrived at the city gate. When the guard at the city gate saw Mo Xiaobai, they couldn't help but be stunned. "You left the city alone?" Mo Xiaobai nodded. "Yes." The guards looked at each other and were a little dumbfounded. The leader of the guards looked at Mo Xiaobai and said, "The Nightmare Void Domain is different from the Nightmare Void Domain. Nightmare Tier Void territory is different from normal and Suffering Tier. It's very dangerous alone. Why don't you join a team?" "No need. Thanks for the reminder." Mo Xiaobai smiled and refused. What kind of joke was this? He came here to find void treasures. If he teamed up with others, wouldn't he have to share the void treasures with others? He didn't even tell Nat Su Qi, Su Yin, and Yin Shui. If he really wanted to find someone to team up with, wouldn't it be better to find the three of them? At least they were pleasing to the eye. Seeing Mo Xiaobai refuse so decisively, not only the guards, but even the adventurers nearby were stunned. They looked at Mo Xiaobai as if he was an idiot. How could a mere level 1-3 apertures kid not be afraid of death? He dared to enter the dark forest alone? A hint of helplessness flashed in the eyes of the guards. There was no rule that stated that a person couldn't leave the city alone. They only reminded Mo Xiaobai because he was so young. Since he didn't appreciate it, they couldn't say anything more. "Then you can leave." The elf captain shook his head and said. After checking the pass, the guards let him go. Under everyone's strange gazes, Mo Xiaobai walked out of the city gate. Then, a green light flashed around him, and a majestic eagle cry resounded. The handsome wind feather eagle appeared in the open space in front of Mo Xiaobai. After sensing the wind feather eagle's cultivation and aura, everyone's pupils shrank, and they gasped. "This, a peak level 3 leader?" Everyone looked at the wind feather eagle in disbelief, and then looked at Mo Xiaobai. They didn't expect a level 1-3 apertures body fundamentalist to have a peak level 3 leader as a mount. No wonder this guy dares to leave the city alone, someone couldn't help but mutter. The others also nodded slightly. The wind feather eagle's forte is its speed. With this peak level 3 leader wind feather eagle, no matter what, it's not a problem to escape in the face of danger. Those who could come to the dark forest were all knowledgeable body fundamentalists, so they naturally understood. Even if this kid's strength isn't good enough, as long as he doesn't advance too recklessly, he can still gain something with this wind feather eagle. Everyone was envious. Why didn't they have such a good mount? Some adventurer teams were even tempted to invite Mo Xiaobai to join their adventurer teams and adventure with them. Just the wind feather eagle's combat power alone was worthy of their respect. However, before they could do anything, Mo Xiaobai was already on the wind feather eagle's back. The next moment, Mo Xiaobai patted the wind feather eagle. It rose into the air, disappearing from everyone's sight. The people at the city gate were silent for a while, then shook their heads slightly. What a pity. Before he could invite her, she had already left. He's already a 3 apertures body at such a young age, and he has such a powerful mount. I'm afraid his background isn't simple. Yeah, judging from his age, he shouldn't be 20 years old, right? Young people these days are incredible. Even with that leader wind feather eagle, he's brave enough to come to the dark forest. Amidst the discussion among the adventurers, many of the guards shook their heads slightly. The captain of the elven guards smiled bitterly. To think that I was worried about him. There's no need for that at all. Ha ha. The captain has embarrassed himself this time. Who knew that kid had such a powerful mount? You can't blame me for this. The elven captain's mouth twitched. While everyone was discussing, Mo Xiaobai had already rushed into the dark forest. Caw, 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 caw. At this moment, more than 10 giant blackbirds were approaching from the sky. Mo Xiaobai glanced at them. Dark demon crows. Rank 3 elite demonic beasts. They weren't weak, and they had a weak power of darkness. Of course, to a peak tier 3 leader like Little Green, this was not enough at all. In Mo Xiaobai's eyes, these dark demon crows' lines of misfortune were light gray, and they were not a threat at all. That was the truth. Little Green saw the dark demon crows rushing over, as if provoked. Caw! It let out a deep caw. The next moment, a gust of wind surged around its body, and hundreds of wind blades instantly covered all the dark demon crows. Chee 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 chee. Purple-black blood spurted out, and feathers scattered. The dark demon crows were basically all killed in a single exchange. More than 10 corpses fell from the sky. A few of the dark demon crows had light red light wrapped around their bodies. Obviously, they could extract transcendent grade materials. Mo Shao patted Little Green's back and let it land. When he landed, the dark demon crows had already extracted transcendent grade materials. Demon crow meat, demon crow blood essence, black feathers, demon crow eyes, and so on. There were more than 10 transcendent grade materials, and several of them were elite grade materials. Mo Shao happily put everything away. As expected of a nightmare grade void domain, the probability of this transcendent grade material being extracted far exceeded the hardship grade void domain. Just this wave alone had an income of tens of thousands of origin crystals. No wonder the adventurers knew that the nightmare grade void domain was far more dangerous than the hardship grade void domain, but they still took the risk. High risk also meant high returns. This income was too considerable. Just as Mo Shao picked up the things, heavy breathing came from not far away. Mo Shao turned his head and looked. In the deep dark forest, a huge black bear over 3 meters tall slowly walked out. Chapter 166. Dark Demonic Bear, Rank 3, Level 6, Magical Beast Leader. Roar! When the Dark Demonic Bear saw Mo Shao a black light flashed in its eyes. In the next moment, its body was surrounded by strands of black light as it charged at Mo Shao Dark Charge. Mo Shao looked at the dark demonic bear that was surrounded by light gray strands of bad luck and light red strands of good luck, and was surprised. He had just entered and already met a leader, one with the power of darkness. TSK, isn't this place too cool? In Mo Shao eyes, these were all origin crystals. When the dark demonic bear was charging, Mo Shao didn't even move. In the distance, Little Green condensed a hurricane bullet in front of it. The green hurricane egg directly hit the dark demonic bear's body. Boom! The dark demonic bear was sent flying and crashed into a giant tree that was more than 2 meters in diameter. The giant tree shook violently, and leaves rustled down. The dark demonic bear's body was torn open by the wind blade, and blood flowed out. A trace of fear flashed in its eyes as it struggled to get up, wanting to run away. At this moment, a green wind blade streaked through the air and slashed at the wound on its abdomen. Chi! The giant, dark demonic bear swayed, and its vitality dissipated as its corpse fell to the ground. Screech! Little Green screeched in a low voice, its green eyes full of arrogance. A small piece of trash of this level dared to make a move on its master? Bah! Then it turned to look at Mo Shao its eyes full of pride. Mo Shao saw Little Green's proud look and couldn't help but laugh. Not bad. I'll get you something good to eat when we get back. Screech! Little Green cried out happily. At this time, the dark demonic bear's flesh had already withered, and transcendent materials had formed. The purple ones were rare bear bones, the blue ones were rare heaven-forged leather armor, and there was also a rare darkness crystal. These things could be used to feed contracted magical beasts with the power of darkness, or used to forge equipment or refine medicine. It was a pity that Little Green had the wind element, or else it could be eaten. As for elite-grade transcendent materials, there were even more. Mo Shao it didn't even look at them before keeping them. Only rare grade 3 materials could be considered acceptable to Mo Shao If it was a good item, it would have to be at the legendary level. It couldn't be helped. Previously, Mo Shao had found so many void treasures during the holidays. He had seen a lot of legendary items. After cleaning up, Mo Shao rode on Little Green and took off again. 6 hours later, Mo Shao flew over a hill. At this moment, he saw a dazzling red light flowing on the side of the hill. Instantly, his heart trembled. So popular? Could it be a void treasure? Little Ching, let's go and take a look. Mo Shao patted Little Ching's back. Screech! Little Green let out a cry and flew towards the direction of the red light. Soon, he saw the location of the red ray of light. It was a wilderness covered with black rocks on the hill. What puzzled him was that there was a large area of the wilderness that was covered in red light. And Mo Xiaobai looked at the area covered by the red light and couldn't help but be stunned. Was the Void Treasure's area that big? Was it not a Void Treasure? Roar! Just as Mo Xiaobai wanted to get closer, he noticed that there was a building made of black rocks in the wilderness. When Little Green flew over, a group of ferocious-looking black demons ran out from the black building. Dark demons. Rank 3, level 1 to peak rank 3. They were also elite to commander ranks. It could be said that they were the most powerful demons in the Forest of Darkness. And Mo Xiaobai saw gray lines of misfortune on the bodies of these dark demons. Some of the larger dark demons had darker lines of misfortune on their bodies. They were dark gray in color. However, to Mo Xiaobai, they were not a threat. After seeing Mo Xiaobai, the demons below began to say something. Then, energy balls filled with dark elements were thrown at Mo Xiaobai. Whoosh! Whoosh! The energy balls flew in the air. But compared to Little Green's speed, they were too slow. Little Green's body flashed and dodged the energy balls one by one. Mo Xiaobai took the opportunity to jump off Little Green's back. Boom! His body landed heavily on the ground and disappeared in the next moment. Whoosh! Whoosh! In the next moment, their necks were split open and blood spurted out. Their lifeless corpses landed heavily on the ground. The dull sound of their bodies landing shocked all the dark demons. Their eyes widened as they looked at their dead brethren. They couldn't even speak anymore. How did they die? The dark demons were filled with questions. At this moment, a low roar could be heard. Humans! In the low roar, several dark demons over 4 meters tall rushed out. Some of them were wearing black leather armor, some were wearing black robes, and some were wearing armor made of black crystals. The lines of misfortune of these dark demons were all dark gray. The leader of the dark demons was wearing black crystal armor. His eyes flashed with a cruel and evil light. It's the genius of the human race. Kill him! Kill! Roars could be heard as the dark demons all rushed towards Mo Xiaobai. All kinds of attacks followed. However, Mo Xiaobai's expression didn't change. His body turned into a blade of light and disappeared. Whoosh! In the next moment, a sword of light slashed across the neck of the dark mage standing at the back. Purplish-black blood spurted out. Cough, cough. His eyes widened as a trace of disbelief flashed through his tyrannical eyes. What? The evil demon leaders widened their eyes in shock. Mo Xiaobai's strength was far beyond their imagination. As a Tier 3 demon chieftain, he possessed high intellect. Seeing this scene, their eyes instinctively flashed with a hint of retreating. Just as they were about to retreat, Little Green shot out wind blades from afar. Damn it! Feeling the powerful wind blades, the dark demons in black crystal armor roared and resisted the attack with difficulty. Right at this moment, Mo Xiaobai vanished on the spot again. In the next moment, a dark demon in black leather armor spewed out blood and fell to the ground. Seeing this, all the dark demons felt a chill down their spine. Their hearts were inexplicably shocked. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Mo Xiaobai's expression was calm. There was no change in his expression as he continued to kill the dark demons. After killing the dark demons and demonic beasts in the void domain, they would continue to come out from the door. They couldn't kill all of them. Moreover, the dark demons wanted to invade Azure through the void domain. This hatred couldn't be resolved. Naturally, he had to kill all that he could. Soon, only the dark demon leader wearing the black crystal battle armor was left alive. The others were all dead. Just as Mo Xiaobai looked at the dark demon in black, his eyes suddenly widened. Human, wait, I have a treasure. I'm willing to tell you where it is. Hearing this, Mo Xiaobai paused and looked at him coldly. What treasure? The dark demon in black looked at Mo Xiaobai's cold eyes. The dark demon in black, who seemed to be filled with all the evil in the world, couldn't help but swallow his saliva. You swear that you won't attack me. I swear. Mo Xiaobai nodded and agreed without thinking. The dark demon in black didn't expect Mo Xiaobai to be so decisive. He couldn't help but be stunned. Speak. Mo Xiaobai frowned and looked at him coldly. Killing intent surged. My patience is limited. Hearing this, the dark demon in black didn't have time to think. He quickly said, I know where the black crystal iron is. Hearing this, Mo Xiaobai was stunned. Then, he looked at the red light around him. What? So this wasn't the void treasure? To think that I was looking forward to it. He couldn't help but pout. Hearing Mo Xiaobai's muttering, the dark demon in black was stunned. Question marks appeared in his mind. No, what was this person looking forward to? Just as he was puzzled, Mo Xiaobai spoke again. Where's the mine? Mo Xiaobai glanced at the black crystal armor on him. It should be made of black crystal iron, right? Then they must be collecting it already. The dark demon in black gulped. I'll take you there. Mo Xiaobai nodded. The dark demon in black turned around and walked towards the black buildings where the dark demons were. Along the way, all the dark demons looked at Mo Xiaobai in fear. The strength that Mo Xiaobai had displayed earlier had caused them to panic. Even their leaders were dead. Naturally, they didn't dare to attack. Soon, the dark demon in black brought Mo Xiaobai to the inner part of the buildings. In the inner part of the buildings, there was a house that looked no different from the other black buildings. After walking into the house, Mo Xiaobai realized that the house was just a cover. Inside was a huge pit with a radius of more than 10 meters. The bottom of the pit could be seen. However, there were a lot of black rocks in the house. It sits here. The dark demon in black looked at the pit, then looked at Mo Xiaobai. Mo Xiaobai looked at the dazzling red light floating out of the pit and nodded slightly. This guy didn't seem to be lying to him. Where's the black crystal iron that has been collected? Hearing this, the dark demon in black looked at Mo Xiaobai and swallowed his saliva. It has been transported to Black Demon Hall. Black Demon Hall. Mo Xiaobai frowned slightly. According to Azure's understanding of the dark demons, every void domain where the dark demons existed had their headquarters called Black Demon Hall. It might be the inheritance of the dark demons in their own universe. The Black Demon Hall in the Forest of Darkness was obviously the place where the strongest dark demons gathered. There must be peak rank 3 or even rank 4 dark demons in there. Even Mo Xiaobai didn't have the confidence to kill the leader. If they were of the same rank, he could still fight. A high-rank leader was too strong. Mo Xiaobai thought for a while, then nodded slightly. I understand. The dark demon in black immediately said, I've already told you the location of the mine. I've already told you the location of the mine. You can't do anything to me. Hearing this, Mo Xiaobai glanced at him and revealed a kind smile. Don't worry, I always keep my word. The dark demon in black was overjoyed. As long as he could escape, he would report to Leader Chi-Gon. There was such a monster among the humans. He had to make him stay. Every prodigy from Azure made it harder for them to invade Azure. If they could kill him, they couldn't let him go. However, this human genius was too naive. He was actually willing to let him go. The dark demon in black sneered. The next time they met, he would definitely take his head. At this moment, Mo Xiaobai disappeared and appeared in front of the dark demon in black. The dark demon in black, who had just relaxed, narrowed his eyes. Before he could react, Mo Xiaobai had already sent a kick over. The Dark Fiend leader felt an incomparably terrifying power surge into his body. He felt like his organs had been kicked into powder. His vision blurred, and he spat out a mouthful of purplish-black blood. He looked at Mo Xiaobai in disbelief. You said you wouldn't attack me. Mo Xiaobai nodded. Yes, that's why I attacked you with my foot. As he spoke, Mo Xiaobai extended his right foot and gestured. I meant what I said. I didn't attack you. The dark demon in black. What was the difference between attacking and kicking? He opened his mouth and spat out a mouthful of blood. His life force dissipated and his eyes were filled with unwillingness. Chapter 167. The demonic leader's flesh had dried up, leaving behind a pile of transcendent materials. That black gold armor was a rare grade one. Unfortunately, Mo Xiaobai already had a legendary grade armor, so it was of no use to him. However, he could bring it back for his father. Mo Xiao, but I picked up the armor. The rest were all rare and elite items, as well as some origin crystals. Mo Xiao, but I didn't pay much attention to them. He simply picked up the items and walked out of the room. Outside the room, Mo Xiao by scanned the surroundings and found that there were many more demonic corpses on the ground. They had probably been killed by Little Green when they tried to escape. Their eyes were filled with despair when they saw that Mo Xiao by had come out and the demonic leader hadn't. Mo Xiao by didn't mind and directly killed all the demonic leaders. There were hundreds of them in this demonic horde. All of them were at the elite level, and there were thousands of grade 3 origin crystals. There were also all kinds of transcendent materials. He had earned tens of thousands of grade 3 origin crystals from this wave alone. In terms of grade 1 origin crystals, he would have earned several million. It was even more than what his parents had worked so hard to save. One had to admit that the harvest was quite bountiful. It was only because he was strong enough that he couldn't have taken down this horde. After killing all the demonic leaders, Mo Xiao by glanced at the mine. It would be a waste of time and effort to let him mine the ores himself. He definitely wasn't willing to do so. However, it wouldn't do to just leave it here. If this black crystal mine was rich, it might be worth several pieces of legendary equipment. After some thought, he decided to return to the base and report to the Adventurers Guild. When the time came, he could also take some commission or share the profits. After making up his mind, Mo Xiao by left the demonic horde and flew back to the base on Little Green. Several hours later, Little Green stopped at the base's entrance. The guard were startled when they saw Little Green and Mo Xiao by, their expressions becoming somewhat odd. Isn't that the kid who went out alone? You're back so soon? Heh, it seems like you know how dangerous the dark forest is. Are you scared? Although the Wind Feather Eagle leader at the peak of the 3rd rank was not weak. However, they were not invincible in the dark forest. It was normal to encounter danger. While the guards were talking, Mo Xiao by had already walked over. I want to enter the city. He handed over the pass. The elf captain took the pass and smiled. How is it? Are you planning to find a team? Do you want me to introduce you to... Before he could finish, Mo Xiao by gave him a puzzled look. I don't intend to find a team. Hearing this, the elf captain was stunned. Then why did you come back? Mo Xiao by grinned. I found a black crystal iron mine. I plan to sell it to the Adventurers Guild. Hearing this, the guards were dumbfounded. Black crystal iron, or... The elf captain could not help but exclaim. He looked at Mo Xiao by in disbelief. How is that possible? Black crystal iron ore is very rare. Even if there is one, it must have been hidden by the dark demons. How did you find it? Mo Xiao by glanced at him, smiled, and said, Don't worry. I was lucky to encounter a group of dark demons. After killing a few of their leaders, one of the dark demons was scared. He told me. Not only the guards, but even the adventurers who entered and exited the city looked at Mo Xiao by in a daze. What the hell? A dark demon leader would be scared? Moreover, he encountered a group of dark demons alone and said that he was lucky? What the hell? A group of dark demons had at least hundreds or even thousands of dark demons. They were all elites, and there were even a few leaders. Even if there was a leader-level Wind Feather Eagle, it was impossible to defeat them all. How'd he do it? They felt like they were listening to a joke. Are you done? Seeing the elf captain in a daze, Mo Xiao by could not help but urge him. He was in a hurry. Oh, I'm done. The elf captain came back to his senses. He looked at Mo Xiao by and handed the pass back to him. Mo Xiao by took the pass and entered the encampment. The guards and adventurers were left dumbfounded on the ground. Soon, Mo Xiao by arrived at the Adventurers Guild branch in the encampment. There were many people in the main hall. Mo Xiao by looked around and found an empty counter. He walked over. Hello, how can I help you? The staff behind the counter was a mermaid with a hot body. She had a bright smile. Mo Xiao by smiled and said, I want to sell the location of a black crystal iron ore mine. The mermaid's smile froze. She blinked in confusion. Black crystal iron ore mine. Yes, how much? Mo Xiao by smiled and nodded. The mermaid was stunned. Then, she quickly said, "Please wait a moment. You, please wait a moment, I'll call the supervisor over." The location of a black crystal iron, or mine, was definitely a big deal. Okay. She left her seat and went to find a manager. Soon, the mermaid walked over with a pretty young elf woman. Behind a female elf was a white-haired knight spirit elder. When the elf saw Mo Xiao Bai, she quickly walked over and extended her hand. "Hello, I'm the manager of the Dark Forest Adventurers Guild branch. Mu. Hello, I'm Mo Xiao Bai." Mo Xiao Bai reached out and shook Mu and An's hand. "Mr. Mo wants to sell the location of a black crystal iron, or mine." Mu and widened her eyes and looked at Mo Xiao Bai. "Yes." Mo Xiao Bai nodded. "Do you know how many black crystal iron ores there are?" Mo Xiao Bai shook his head slightly. "I'm not sure. He had never been down there before. How could he know? Moreover, he didn't have any special origin skills related to mining." Muin nodded and introduced Mo Xiao Bai to the old man from Night Spirit behind him. "Let me introduce you. This is our branch's miner, Feng Yuan Hong. Because you don't know how many ores there are, we need to confirm before we can give you a price. What do you think?" Mo Xiao Bai glanced at the serious Feng Yuan Hong behind Mu and nodded. "No problem." Mu immediately smiled. "Then let's go." Afterwards, the three of them left the Adventurers Guild and walked toward the city gates. When they arrived at the gates, the guards and adventurers all opened their eyes wide when they saw Mu and the Adventurers Guild branch's manager. As people who often hung out at the headquarters, they naturally knew who she was. The elf captain smiled. "Manager Mu, why have you come out?" Muin glanced at the elf captain and smiled. "Captain Lee, I have some matters to attend to." Seeing that Muin didn't say anything else, Captain Lee didn't ask any more questions. After checking their passes, he let them pass. After leaving the city gates, Muin smiled at Mo Xiao Bai. "Do you have a mount?" Mo Xiao Bai nodded. "I do." As he spoke, his body began to glow with a green light. Little Green appeared in front of him. Upon seeing Little Green, Muin and Feng Yuan Hong were both stunned. A peak rank 3 leader? Muin An's eyes widened, somewhat dumbfounded. Mo Xiao Bai smiled and nodded. "Yes, my mount, Little Green." As he spoke, he glanced at Muin. "Manager Mu, where's your mount? Shall we head out?" Cough. Muin coughed dryly and said, "Why don't we become your mounts? Why don't we all become your mounts? Hurry up." Her mount was only a rank 3 elite-level magical beast. She had originally thought that it wasn't bad, but now she was a little embarrassed to take it out. Hearing Mu and An's words, Mo Xiao Bai didn't say anything else. He nodded. "All right then." After the three of them got on Little Green's back, Little Green soared into the air and flew in the direction of the black crystal iron ore. Seeing Mo Xiao Bai, Mu and Feng Yuan Hong leave, the nearby guards and adventurers all widened their eyes. Could it be that the kid really found a black crystal iron ore? Definitely. Did you see that old man beside Manager Mu? You know that old man? Yes, that's the mining master of the Adventurer Division, Feng Yuan Hong. Even a mining master was dispatched, and Manager Mu personally brought him there. Seems like it's true. Everyone exchanged glances. Wasn't this 2F Asterisk King fake? They only went out for half a day, and they found a black crystal iron ore. A black crystal iron ore should be worth at least 100,000 rank 3 origin crystals, right? Let me calm down. Everyone's eyes turned green. Their hearts couldn't take it. On Little Green's back, Muin flicked her long hair and glanced at the overly young Mo Xiao Bai. She asked in confusion, "Mr. Mo, you don't have any mining skills. How did you find the black crystal iron ore?" Upon hearing this, Feng Yuan Hong also glanced over curiously. Mo Xiao Bai chuckled. "I didn't find the black crystal iron ore originally." Muin blinked, her face full of confusion. Mo Xiao Bai chuckled. "I only found a group of dark demons. Originally, I just wanted to kill them. I didn't expect to find something unexpected. A group of dark demons?" Muin was stunned. "You're saying you went to attack a group of dark demons alone?" "That's right. Is there a problem?" Mo Xiao Bai glanced at Mu, and then his face full of confusion. Moving in Feng Yuanhong. The corners of their mouths twitched. What was the problem? There was a big problem, okay. Aren't you only at the first level of the 3 apertures? Muanin had originally thought that Mo Xiaobai had just been lucky and found a mine somewhere. Unexpectedly, this guy had directly exterminated a group of dark demons and snatched it from their hands. This guy's cultivation was clearly so low. How had he done it? That's right. I'm at the first level of the 3 apertures. Then, he seemed to understand why Mu and Feng Yuanhong were so shocked. He smiled and said, cough. I'm not bragging, but my combat strength is pretty good. Pretty good combat strength. Muanin's mouth twitched. If what Mo Xiaobai said was true, then it wasn't just a matter of combat strength. His combat strength was practically heaven-defying, okay? She took a deep breath and calmed herself down. If he really could use his cultivation at the first level of the 3 apertures to work with the peak rank 3 Wind Feather Eagle to exterminate a group of dark demons, Mo Xiaobai's talent and potential were simply too frightening. He wasn't any weaker than those top geniuses. However, she had never heard of the Mo family being one of the top aristocratic families. Could it be? He wasn't from a top aristocratic family? He was an ordinary person? Muanin was even more shocked when she thought of this. She glanced at Mo Xiaobai, her eyes flashing. Then she smiled and asked, I don't know. Which family do you belong to, Mr. Mo? Which family? Mo Xiaobai was taken aback. Then he smiled and waved his hand, saying, I'm not from a big family. As expected, Muanin's heart raced. Then she smiled and asked, Then, do you know the Mu family? Chapter 168. The Mu clan. When Mo Xiaobai heard this, he glanced at the smiling Mu Ainin with a strange expression on his face. It couldn't be that Mu clan, right? The Mu clan of the Council of Elders? It seems that Mr. Mo knows about them. Mu Ainin smiled as she spoke. Mo Xiaobai laughed dryly. What about the Mu clan? Mu Ainin glanced at Mo Xiaobai, her eyes flickering. Mr. Mo's talent is so great. Are you interested in joining the Mu clan? Origin skills, origin crystals, equipment, medicines, etc. As long as you display your talent, the Mu clan will give it to you. When it came to powerful geniuses, top-tier aristocratic families would naturally extend an olive branch. They would either become a guest elder or marry into the family. This was a very common occurrence among top-tier aristocratic families. If a family wanted to become powerful, they could never have too many geniuses. Mo Xiaobai glanced at Mu Ainin's sparkling eyes and pursed his lips. Supervisor Mu, do you know Natsuki? Mu Ainin was startled, and her eyes widened slightly. You know the young miss? She's my senior. We're on pretty good terms. When Mu Ainin heard this, her expression became awkward. So Mr. Mo is one of the young miss people. My apologies. She had originally wanted to bring a genius back to the family, but she hadn't expected him to be someone she knew from Natsuki. She was only a branch descendant. She didn't dare to fight with Natsuki over someone. One of Natsuki's people? When Mo Xiaobai heard this, he laughed dryly. Since when had he become one of Natsuki's people? However, when he saw Mu Ainin's expression, Mo Xiaobai didn't bother explaining. He waved his hand and said, It's fine. It's fine. Supervisor Mu meant well. Honestly speaking, even if Mo Xiaobai didn't know Natsuki, he wouldn't choose to become a guest elder of the Mu clan or marry into the family. After all, with the white ray of light, it was too easy for him to find treasures. The stronger he became, the higher the level of the void he could enter, and the treasures he might not even be able to find those top-tier aristocratic families. There was no need for him to join those aristocratic families. When Feng Yuanhong heard the conversation between Mo Xiaobai and Mu Ainin, he couldn't help but glance at Mo Xiaobai a few more times. The Mu clan was one of the most powerful clans in the empire. This young man actually had a pretty good relationship with the Mu family's eldest miss. Not to mention other things, to be able to be valued by the eldest daughter of the Mu family, his future would definitely be limitless. He was a little envious. A few hours later, Little Qing returned to the group of dark demons. After landing, Mo Xiaobai did not say anything. Feng Yuan Hong, who had been silent all this while, revealed an excited expression. Origin power circulated around his body as white light flickered in his eyes. He looked in the direction of the house where the mineshaft was located and said, "Miss Mu, there is indeed a black crystal iron mine here, and there is quite a lot of it." Mu and An's eyes flashed. "Elder Feng, estimate the value. I need to take a look inside the mine." Muin turned to look at Mo Xiaobai. "Mr. Mo, what do you think?" I'll take you there." Mo Xiaobai nodded, then led the way into the room in the mine. Feng Yuan Hong followed behind, somewhat expectantly. Muin walked at the very back, her eyes flashing with shock as she gazed at the dark demon's withered flesh. Originally, she had already guessed that Mo Xiaobai was not weak. However, when she saw the hundreds of dark demons' corpses, she could not help but feel shocked. Mo Xiaobai was the only one who had killed all of them. At most, he had his mount as well. His combat strength was incomparably powerful. Very quickly, they entered the room in the mine. Feng Yuan Hong said nothing as he pulled out a strange metal instrument and jumped into the mine. When Mo Xiaobai saw this, he followed suit. The mine's interior was winding, and there were signs that it had been mined before. Mo Xiaobai was not surprised. After all, the Dark Demon's leader had already said that. Everything that had been mined had been transported to Black Demon Hall. Feng Yuan Hong did not enter the depths of the tunnel. Instead, he operated the instrument from the periphery, using his unique origin skills, as if he were inspecting something. A moment later, he put away the instrument and walked back. Muin asked curiously, "How is it?" Feng Yuan Hong sighed. "It was originally a rich mine, but a lot of it has already been excavated. There isn't much left now, probably around 100 tons of black crystal iron." When Muin heard this, a look of regret appeared on her face. Although 100 tons of black crystal iron was not a small amount, it was not a lot either. Muin turned to look at Mo Xiaobai. "Mr. Mo, I'm willing to purchase this black crystal iron for 30% of the market price. What do you think?" After all, this mine was located in the Forest of Darkness. It was difficult to mine it, and the cost of manpower was not low. In addition, there were also the possible dangers of the Forest of Darkness. The cost of excavating all of the black crystal iron and bringing it back to the outpost was quite high. If she were dealing with an ordinary person, she would at most offer 20%. However, Mo Xiaobai was a member of Natsuki after all, so she offered 30%. Mo Xiaobai naturally had no objections. He nodded. 30% it is then. 100 tons of black crystal iron is worth around 560,000 grade 3 origin crystals. 30% will make it 187,000 grade 3 origin crystals. What do you think? No problem. Mo Xiaobai smiled and nodded. He was a little excited. 187,000 grade 3 origin crystals were equivalent to 18,700,000 grade 1 origin crystals. He had become a millionaire in an instant. If his parents were only the captain of the Pingxi Town Adventure Group, they might not even be able to earn so many origin crystals in their lifetime. Mo Xiaobai could not help but sigh. Sure enough, only the strong had money. After that, Muin transferred the origin crystals to Mo Xiaobai, and the transaction was completed. After the three of them left the mine, Muin smiled and asked, "Does Mr. Mo plan to return to the outpost next?" Mo Xiaobai shook his head. "I plan to check out other places." He was here for the void treasure. If it were not for the high value of the black crystal iron, he would not have bothered to return to the outpost. Muin nodded at Mo Xiaobai's words. "In that case, we'll be heading back first. Next, we need to prepare for mining." I understand." Mo Xiaobai nodded. After that, Mo Xiaobai bid farewell to the two of them and left on Little Green. Muin could not help but sigh as she watched Mo Xiaobai leave. Feng Yuan Hong asked curiously, "Why did Miss Mu sigh?" Muin was startled and shook her head with a smile. "It's nothing. She was just lamenting that such a genius was actually a member of Natsuki. If she had been the one to recommend him to the clan, she would have received a great reward. What a pity. Let's go back." In the depths of the Forest of Darkness, there was a castle made entirely of black stone. Outside the castle, there were powerful darkness demons patrolling. These darkness demons were all at the peak of rank 3, and their auras were extremely powerful. In the deepest hall of the castle, at the end of the gloomy space, there was a huge throne. Sitting on the throne was a huge darkness fiend. This dark demon was more than 2 meters tall just by sitting down. His upper body was bare, and his muscles were bulging. Dark flames burned in his pitch-black eyes. At this moment, his tyrannical and evil eyes were looking below the throne, at 3 people standing in the middle of the hall. The corners of his mouth curled up slightly, revealing a sinister smile. Azure mortals, you said that you have something important to discuss with me? Yes, Great Lord Chigon. The leader of the 3 was a night creature wearing a black robe. His silver hair reached his shoulders, and his face was old, but his eyes were extremely deep. He bowed slightly and spoke respectfully. Ha 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 ha! Chigon threw his head back and laughed. His laughter echoed in the hall. As he laughed, cold sweat appeared on the foreheads of the 3 people, and their eyes were filled with fear. A moment later, his pitch-black eyes looked at the night creature leader again. Weak and foolish azure mortals, tell me your important matter. If you can't satisfy me, then you know the consequences. The night creature elder gulped and spoke. I am here to speak with the great Lord Chigon on behalf of the god that I serve. The god you serve? Chigon sat up slightly and stared at the 3 people. Then, his lips curled up, revealing his sharp white teeth. Pure Dar power. Who is the god behind you? Our master is the great Yujiang. Yujiang? Although this dark power is not as good as mine, it's passable. Chigon sneered. Hearing Chigon's disdainful voice, the 3 people's expressions froze, and they were somewhat dissatisfied. However, when they thought of the important matter regarding their master, they could only suppress their dissatisfaction. Tell me, why is your master looking for me? The leader of the night creatures took a deep breath and said slowly, That's right. We can help you open the door in advance. Hearing this, the dark flames in Chigon's eyes flickered a little. He stared at the 3 of them deeply until their bodies trembled slightly, almost unable to withstand the pressure. Do you know what you're talking about? Of course, Great Lord Chigon. Soon, the Witcher Corps will be mobilized. You know that, right? Hearing this, Chigon's aura surged. The violent pressure caused the 3 of them to kneel on the ground and spit out a mouthful of blood. Mortals, this time, it's my gift to you. If it's a next time, I'll give you death. Chigon's deep voice echoed in the hall. Yes, please forgive us. The 3 of them prostrated on the ground, their voices trembling. After a moment of silence, Chigon retracted his aura. He spoke slowly. Tell me, what do you want? Hearing Chigon's words, the 3 of them were delighted. Success. The night creature elder raised his head with a hopeful expression. Great Lord Chigon, please give us the Darkness Origin Crystal. Darkness Origin Crystal? Chigon was stunned when he heard that. Then, he seemed to have understood something. He glanced at the 3 people kneeling on the ground and curled his lips, revealing a look of disdain. As long as you can open the door in advance, I'll give you the Darkness Origin Crystal. Chapter 169. Thank you for your generosity. Hearing this, the 3 of them were overjoyed. They prostrated themselves on the ground and praised Chigon loudly. Chigon chuckled and looked at the 3 of them. Of course, if you can't open the door in advance, don't blame me for being rude. We promise to open the door in advance. Elder Night Spirit said solemnly. I hope so. Night fell. The forest of darkness, which was already dark, was now completely shrouded in darkness. The roars of magical beasts could be heard in the darkness. Mo Xiao Bai and Little Qing both had good night vision, so in this darkness they could still see the path. Just as Mo Xiao Bai passed by a cliff, a dazzling red light suddenly flashed in front of them. Mo Xiao Bai, who was already tired, saw this dazzling red light and became alert. There was good stuff. Little Qing, go over there. He patted Little Qing's back. Little Green cried out and spread its wings to fly in the direction that Mo Xiao Bai pointed out. Soon, Little Ching arrived in the middle of a towering cliff. Somewhere in the middle of the cliff, there was a dazzling red light flowing, and the light seemed to be coming from an ordinary rock. Seeing this scene, Mo Xiaobai immediately revealed a smile. He took out an elite heaven-forged heavy sword that he didn't know what it was made from. With a slight force in his right hand, the heavy sword shot out and pierced the area below the red light. In the next moment, Mo Xiaobai jumped onto the heavy sword from Little Qing's back. He pressed his hand on the rock where the red light was. Mo Xiaobai's right hand seemed to touch an ice-cold stream of water. Above the rock, the void rippled and formed a spatial door. Mo Xiaobai's lips curled up. It really was a void treasure. Little Qing, stand guard outside. Screech, Little Green flapped its wings and stopped on a tree at the side. With Little Qing standing guard outside, Mo Xiaobai stepped into the spatial door. Mo Xiaobai's line of sight changed, and he appeared in a white space. In the middle of the space, a large pile of treasures was piled together, flashing with all kinds of lights. Mo Xiaobai's eyes were blinded by the dazzling red and orange lights, causing his breathing to stagnate. Legendary treasures and epic treasures. He took a few steps to the pile of treasures and examined them. 3 origin skill crystals, 1 legendary, 1 epic, and 1 legendary. An epic ranked white heavenly forged ring. A set of legendary grade black heavenly cast robes, a black legendary grade magic staff, and a legendary grade rare material. The rest were all rare and rare grade items. There were no more elite grade items. In addition to the extraordinary items, there was also a small mountain of origin crystals, all of them grade 3. The more Mo Xiaobai counted, the faster his breathing became. The harvest from this void treasure was far beyond his imagination. Was this the void treasure of a nightmare level void domain? It was much more powerful than a suffering level 1. After Mo Xiaobai put everything away, he looked at the exit. Little Qing was standing guard outside. With Little Qing's strength, unless it was a commander-level demon beast, there wouldn't be any danger. Moreover, this place was very secretive. He might as well take a look and see what kind of treasures were here. After Mo Xiaobai thought about it, he took out the legendary grade origin skill crystal that was flashing with a dazzling red light. Legendary grade origin skill crystals. Even Tier 9 experts might not have them, right? Mo Xiaobai licked his lips, his eyes blazing. He placed the origin skill crystal on his forehead and checked its information. Complex information flowed into Mo Xiaobai's mind. A moment later, he finished absorbing it. He opened his eyes, revealing a pleasantly surprised expression. This origin skill crystal was called Void Origin Path. This was a very powerful passive origin skill. This origin skill could open a special passage between the origin aperture and the void. When using the origin skill, the origin power consumed would be greatly reduced, and the recovery speed of origin power would be greatly increased. At the same time, it could expand the origin aperture and increase the amount of origin power stored. He currently had many legendary grade origin skills, but he didn't have enough origin power to use them. As long as he cultivated Void Origin Path, Mo Xiaobai would be able to use legendary grade origin skills several times. At that time, his combat strength would increase by a large margin. Void Origin Path was an origin skill that didn't have many levels. If it was cultivated to perfection, the origin power consumed would be reduced by 10 times, and the recovery speed of origin power would be increased by 10 times. At the same time, the origin aperture would be expanded by 10 times, increasing the amount of origin power stored by 10 times. As expected of a legendary grade origin skill, this was simply abnormal. Mo Xiaobai felt his scalp go numb. One had to know that he cultivated a flawless origin refining technique, so his origin power storage was far greater than the average person's. If it increased by 10 times, how much origin power would he have? When he thought about how he would be able to use legendary grade origin skills, as if they were free once he cultivated Void Origin Path to perfection, the corners of his lips curled upwards. However, this origin skill was also very difficult to cultivate. It required a large amount of origin crystals. Mo Xiaobai wasn't sure how large this amount was. However, it definitely wouldn't be a small amount. After seeing Void Origin Path, Mo Xiaobai didn't even look at anything else. He immediately began to absorb the knowledge of Void Origin Path. He planned to cultivate it first. The knowledge contained within a legendary grade origin skill was extremely vast. After more than an hour, Mo Xiaobai finally finished absorbing the knowledge of Void Origin Path. He opened his eyes and rubbed his somewhat swollen head. After resting for a while, he took out all of the origin crystals. Then, he sat cross-legged on the floor and began to cultivate according to Void Origin Path cultivation method. Immediately, the origin crystals shattered one by one, and the dense origin power was absorbed into Mo Xiaobai's body. Around the origin aperture, a thin, crystalline path of light, as thin as a hair, slowly appeared and connected to the void. At the same time, Mo Xiaobai's already enormous origin aperture began to slowly expand once more. Dense and powerful origin power continuously flowed into Mo Xiaobai's body, filling up his origin aperture. Time flew by. 2 days later, Mo Xiaobai had used up all of the origin crystals he had stored. His origin aperture had already grown to 3 times its original size. At the same time, the thin, long path of light had also become much thicker. He discovered that he could absorb even more origin power from the void. He opened his eyes, and a trace of excitement flashed through them. His origin power consumption had been reduced by 3 times, and his recovery speed had increased, as well as his origin power reserves had increased. The current Mo Xiaobai could easily use legendary grade origin skills consecutively. Not only that, but his cultivation had also increased by a level because the origin power was too dense when cultivating Void Origin Path. He had reached the level of 3 apertures, rank 2. The Void Origin Path had greatly increased his battle prowess. Mo Xiaobai exhaled, slowly stood up, and stretched his back. Then he saw the ground covered in origin crystal powder and couldn't help but laugh bitterly. It was just too expensive. Including the grade 3 origin crystals he had obtained from the Void Treasury, he had more than 100,000 grade 3 origin crystals. He had spent more than 10 million grade 1 origin crystals this time. This was practically burning money, and this was only a 3-fold increase. The further he went, the greater the expenditure. Who knew how many origin crystals he would need by the time he reached perfection? Mo Xiaobai suddenly felt a headache coming on. Mo Xiaobai shook his head and stopped thinking about it. He then took out an origin skill crystal that flashed with orange light. An epic grade origin skill. He placed the origin crystal on his forehead and began to inspect it. Moments later, Mo Xiaobai opened his eyes once more and revealed a smile. Yet another one he could use. Void Sword Array. It could condense origin power into Void Sword auras to kill enemies. The more origin power there was, the more Void Sword auras he could condense, and the more destructive it would be. It was quite suitable for him, who had learned the Void Origin Path. As expected of a Void series origin skill, Mo Xiaobai was beginning to wonder if it was a complete set. There was no movement outside, so Mo Xiaobai naturally didn't go out. He planned to continue comprehending. After dozens of minutes, Mo Xiaobai finally let out a sigh of relief after absorbing the knowledge of the Void Sword Array. He shook his head and felt his brain swell. He had absorbed too much knowledge in the past 2 days. He needed to slow down a bit. However, Mo Xiaobai glanced at the remaining legendary grade origin crystal in his spatial ring. After some thought, he decided to take a look first. He took out the origin crystal and placed it on his forehead to read the information. This was an origin skill called Darkness Wave. It required the user to possess the power of darkness to use it. Mo Xiaobai let out a sigh of relief. Fortunately, he wasn't the one using it. Otherwise, he would have too many origin skills. After putting away the Darkness Wave origin crystal, Mo Xiaobai looked at the epic grade heavenly forged ring. He took out the ring and looked at it. This was a rank 4 epic grade heavenly forged ring. It could increase strength, defense, spiritual power, agility, and other aspects. The increase was extremely large. Mo Xiao Bai's spiritual power, which was his weakest attribute, had doubled. Apart from this, there was also a holy light effect. Attacks could be supported by the power of light, which would increase the damage of darkness to a certain extent, as expected of an epic-grade heavenly forged ring. Just this ring alone increased his combat strength by more than 30%. Mo Xiao Bai happily put the ring on his finger. Then, he walked out of the void treasure trove. In the next moment, he appeared on top of the heavy sword. Screech! Little Green, who was guarding the entrance, saw Mo Xiao Bai come out and immediately cried out excitedly. Seeing this, Mo Xiao Bai smiled slightly. Let's go. He jumped on a Little Green's back and pulled out the heavy sword. Then Little Green brought Mo Xiao Bai and flew in the direction of the encampment. This time, he had found the void treasure trove. Unfortunately, he didn't find a flawless mid-grade origin refining technique. He had no choice but to search elsewhere. Not long after Little Green had flown in the direction of the encampment, Mo Xiao Bai frowned. He discovered that the demons and demonic beasts he encountered along the way were more violent than before. In fact, even his strength had become stronger. What was going on? Mo Xiao Bai waved his right hand, and a silver void sword flashed through the air, killing a peak rank 3 black demon sparrow leader. He was somewhat puzzled. Boom! At this moment, Mo Xiao Bai heard an explosion in the distance. He turned around and discovered that it was in the direction of the black crystal, or that Mo Xiao Bai had discovered. Was it Mu Inan and the others? He had cultivated in the void treasure trove for more than 2 days. Calculating the time, the black crystal, or should have started mining, right? Could it be that the demons had returned? Mo Xiao Bai frowned and patted Little Green's back. Little Green, go take a look. Chapter 170. Black Crystal Iron Mine, Dark Demons Encampment. There was a group of dark demons besieging the encampment. In the encampment, the adventurers resisted the attacks of the dark demons with difficulty. The battle was fierce, and screams and roars were endless. There was blood all over the ground, and broken limbs were everywhere. The leader was a barbarian man with short yellow hair. He looked at the fierce battle in the distance, and cold sweat broke out on his forehead. He turned to Feng Yuan Hong, who was also pale, and growled. When will Supervisor Mu and the rest arrive? We can't hold on much longer. Feng Yuan Hong's face was filled with fear, and the corner of his mouth twitched. I don't know what happened, but the demons in the dark forest have become stronger. Supervisor Mu and the rest have also encountered obstacles on the way. He looked at the crazy dark demons and swallowed his saliva, somewhat terrified. They will probably need half a day to reach here. What? Half a day? Hearing this, the barbarian man's eyes widened, and his pupils constricted. We can only hold on for half an hour at most. In half a day, we will be dead. Is she here to collect our corpses? Roar! At this moment, a low roar sounded, and in the next moment, the adventurers in front were blasted away by a huge force, and blood spurted out in the sky. A 4-meter-tall, dark demon with rock-like muscles walked out with a mace in his hand. After seeing this dark demon, all the adventurers' pupils constricted. The leading barbarian man gulped, and his face turned ugly. Damn it, it's the leader. Then he took out a large shield and a battle axe, and charged at the dark demon leader. Beast, your opponent is me. Boom! The two sides collided, and the barbarian man's strength was no match for the dark demon leader, and he retreated. The adventurers who had been watching this scene felt a chill in their hearts. Even their leader was no match for the dark demon leader. Were they going to die? Ha ha! Weak barbarian. The dark demon leader laughed loudly, and with a ferocious expression, he rushed toward the barbarian man. At this moment, a silver sword ray descended from the sky. Chi! The sword ray pierced through the dark demon leader's body. His eyes widened, and the tyranny in his dark pupils had not faded. His eyes were full of shock. In the next moment, his vitality dissipated, and his body fell heavily to the ground. The barbarian man in the distance couldn't help but open his eyes wide as he looked at the fallen dark demon leader. He was filled with disbelief. How could a leader at the peak of 3 apertures die, just like that? Not only him, but Feng Yuan Hong and the others were also stunned. Screech! Just as they were at a loss, a sharp cry rang out in the sky. Then, wind blades fell from the sky, and the dark demon fell like grass. Blood dyed the sky red. A figure in black armor descended from the sky and landed in the middle of the dark fiends. Dong! The dark demons that landed on the ground were directly killed. After seeing their leader die, the remaining dark demons were somewhat bewildered. When they saw Mo Xiao Bai land on the ground, they didn't even dare to approach him. Mo Xiao Bai looked around and smiled. The black heavy sword in his hand was stabbed into the ground as origin power gushed out. Epic origin skill, Void Sword Array. In the next moment, streaks of silver sword radiance shot into the sky and surrounded Mo Xiao Bai. The silver sword radiance seemed to form a silver storm. All the dark demons within a 10-meter radius didn't even have the strength to resist. They were all killed instantly. When they saw this scene, both the dark demons and the adventurers widened their eyes. The barbarian man's mouth twitched, his eyes filled with shock. Hiss! Who is this person? What frightening strength! Because of Mo Xiao Bai, the originally shaky defensive line suddenly became much more relaxed. The other adventurers were also stunned by the silver storm of sword radiance. Only Feng Yuan Hong stared at the familiar wind feather eagle in the sky, dumbfounded. Isn't that Mr. Mo's little blue? Could it be? Feng Yuan Hong suddenly looked at the center of the silver storm of sword radiance, his face full of disbelief. Could it be that Mr. Mo was inside? He thought back to Mo Xiao Bai's young and somewhat immature face. His men were all dumbfounded. From the conversation between Mo Xiao Bai and Mu Ainen a few days ago, he already knew that Mo Xiao Bai was very powerful. He was so powerful that he could single-handedly exterminate an entire group of dark demons. However, he had never imagined that he would be this powerful. Was this really something that a 3-apertured, level 1 body fundamentalist could do? Was he really not a 4-apertured genius? Feng Yuan Hong stared at the silver sword radiance that covered a 10-meter radius, somewhat doubtful of life. The silver sword radiance only appeared for a few seconds before dissipating. Mo Xiao Bai felt that he had only used a third of his origin power and smiled. Now, he could even use an epic-grade origin skill. The remaining dark demons were all frightened by the sword array of the void and frantically fled. Mo Xiao Bai glanced at the fleeing dark demons and frowned slightly. However, he didn't chase after them. They were all elite dark demons. Even if he killed them all, there wouldn't be anything good. More importantly, he felt that something was wrong with the dark forest. It was best to return as soon as possible. Just as Mo Xiao Bai was pondering, Feng Yuan Hong quickly jogged over. Mr. Mo, I didn't expect you to be here. So it's Master Feng. Mo Xiao Bai smiled, then turned to look at his surroundings. Where's Miss Mu? Miss Mu has something to do, so she didn't come with us. Thank you for saving us this time. Mr. Mo, otherwise, I'm afraid we wouldn't have survived. Looking at the dark demon corpses on the ground, Feng Yuan Hong still felt some lingering fear. You're welcome. Mo Xiao Bai smiled. Right, what's up with these dark demons? Feng Yuan Hong frowned. I'm not sure either. It was fine at first, but this afternoon, many demons and demonic beasts suddenly attacked us. Mo Xiao Bai was somewhat surprised. It's not just this group of dark demons. Feng Yuan Hong smiled bitterly. Before this group of dark demons, there were many demonic beasts and dark demons. Although we repelled them, we also suffered great losses. Otherwise, we wouldn't be in such a sorry state this time. Mo Xiao Bai revealed a look of realization. He also remembered the demonic beasts that had become even more violent than before. He asked, Do you know why this happened? Feng Yuan Hong shook his head. I don't know. Perhaps Supervisor Mu and the others know. Supervisor Mu is already on her way. You can contact Supervisor Mu. Mo Xiao Bai said. Feng Yuan Hong nodded in agreement. Then, he used the communication crystal to contact Mu Ainen. Mu Ainen was clearly worried about the situation here and quickly picked up the call. Elder Feng, we still have some time before we can get here. Hold on a little longer. Mo Xiao Bai could hear the sounds of battle not far away. Clearly, they were also in trouble. Hearing this, Feng Yuanhong glanced at Mo Xiao Bai and replied, Miss Mu, we're fine. Miss Mu, we are fine now. Mr. Mo happened to pass by and saved us. Mr. Mo? Hearing this, Mu Ainin was pleasantly surprised. Mr. Mo is also with you? Hello, Supervisor Mu. Mo Xiao Bai smiled and said. Hearing Mo Xiao Bai's voice, Mu Ainin heaved a sigh of relief. Then, she quickly said, Mr. Mo, can I trouble you to help me bring the people from the mine back? Something big seems to have happened in the Forest of Darkness. Hearing Mu Ainin's serious tone, Mo Xiao Bai frowned slightly. What is it? Mu Ainin was silent for a moment, then said, I'm not sure yet. I'm not sure yet. When you come back, I'll tell you in person. At this point, she paused for a moment, then continued, I won't trouble you. I won't trouble you for nothing, Mr. Mo. I'll pay you 5,000 grade 3 origin crystals if you send them back. When Mo Xiaobai heard this, he immediately revealed a smile. Supervisor Mu is too polite. Then I won't be polite. He was very poor now and did not even have a single origin crystal on him. Moreover, the void path required too many origin crystals. He was very poor. Then I'll have to trouble you. Seeing Mo Xiaobai agree, not only did Mu Ainin breathe a sigh of relief, even Feng Yuanhong breathed a sigh of relief. He had personally witnessed Mo Xiaobai's strength. With Mo Xiaobai around, their safety would definitely be guaranteed. Supervisor Mu is too polite. Mo Xiaobai smiled. It had to be said that the descendants of large clans were very generous. After hanging up, Mo Xiaobai looked at Feng Yuanhong. Master Feng, you heard it. Let's pack up and leave. No problem. Hearing Mo Xiaobai's words, Feng Yuanhong immediately nodded. Then, he turned around and ordered people to pack up. There weren't many things that needed to be packed. They only needed to bring the black crystal iron that they had mined before. Then, they could leave with the others. Due to the demonic creatures attacking the mine, only 50 or so of the 103 Aperture's adventurers were left. The losses were heavy. The 50 or so adventurers boarded the 3-4 scooters that could float in the air. Mo Xiaobai boarded Little Green. Then, everyone set off and moved toward the base. Chirp, chirp. Right at this moment, a series of sharp chirps rang out. In the distance, black dots that blotted out the sky and covered the earth were rapidly approaching. Black demon sparrows. Oh my God! Why are there so many black demon sparrows? Oh no, they're coming toward us. The martial fundamentalists on the 4 scooters looked at the black demon sparrows that blotted out the sky and covered the earth. There were so many black demon sparrows that they could drown the 3-4 scooters. Everyone, don't worry. Mr. Mo is here. With Mr. Mo here, we'll be fine. Although there was fear in Feng Yuanhong's eyes, he could not help but comfort everyone. At this moment, it would only bring trouble. Hearing Feng Yuanhong's words, everyone came back to their senses and turned to look at the wind feather eagle beside them. On the back of the wind feather eagle, Mo Xiaobai's face was calm and did not change at all. It was as if he did not care at all. Seeing Mo Xiaobai's calm look, the adventurers who were originally flustered also calmed down. The eyes of the black demon sparrows in the sky were red with ferocity and bloodthirstiness that were not there before. Just as they were approaching Little Qing, a ray of silver light flashed in Mo Xiaobai's eyes. Buzz! Rays of silver sword light appeared in the sky. There were more than 10 of them. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Mo Xiaobai's eyes flashed. The silver sword light turned into a silver line and drew a strange arc in the sky. The black demon sparrows were cut by the silver line and stopped in the air. In the next moment, blood spurted out and the bodies of the black demon sparrows fell from the sky. In just a few breaths, the originally dense black demon sparrows were all dead and the sky was clear again. In the 4 scooters, all the adventurers widened their eyes. It's the same move as before. Mr. Mo is really too strong. Is his cultivation really only at 3 apertures level 2? He's simply a monster. Everyone looked at Mo Xiaobai with passion and admiration in their eyes. For the adventurers, The strong were worthy of respect, like Mo Xiao Bai, who was only at 3 apertures level 2, could kill so many black demon sparrows in just a few breaths. They even had some admiration in their hearts. With Mr. Mo here, we can rest assured. Everyone was completely relieved. Chapter 171. Dong. Mo Xiao Bai landed between Mu Ainen and the Dark Demon leader. When the two saw Mo Xiao Bai, they were both stunned. The next moment, Mu Ainen smiled in surprise. Mr. Mo, why are you here? Where's the mining team? They're behind us. I saw some movement here, so I came to take a look. Hearing Mo Xiao Bai's words, Mu Ainen sighed in relief. Mo Xiao Bai was an expert who could kill several hundred darkness fiends by himself. The leader was definitely one of them. Although he might not be as strong as the Dark Demon leader, he could definitely help her deal with the Dark Demon leader. Kakik. Another one here to die. The Dark Demon leader glanced at Mo Xiao Bai and smiled savagely. In his eyes, a level 2-3 aperture cultivation was not worth mentioning. Mo Xiao Bai glanced at the Dark Fiend leader and said with a smile, Supervisor Mu, let me help you. Thank you. Mu Ainen nodded. Boom! Just as Mu Ainen finished speaking, Mo Xiao Bai disappeared from the spot. The next moment, he appeared in front of the Dark Demon leader. The heavy sword in his hand flashed with a golden light. Sky Baron Breath Slash, second style, Breath Slash. The flashing heavy sword brought with it a violent surge of power. The sword wind slashed across the Dark Demon leader's body, causing him to feel a wave of pain. The Dark Demon leader's eyes widened. They were filled with shock. This power. Roar. The spear in his hand flowed with the power of darkness, blocking in front of him. Clang. The Dark Demon leader's body flew back dozens of meters before he could barely stop himself. His hands trembled slightly, and streaks of blood flowed down. However, he did not care about this injury at all. He just stared at Mo Xiao Bai with wide eyes, his face full of disbelief. How could a mere level 2-3 apertures human be so strong? Mu Ainen? She was also dumbfounded when she saw Mo Xiao Bai defeat the Dark Demon leader with one strike. Was this really level 2 of 3 apertures? After Mo Xiao Bai's attack, his body once again turned into a saber light and disappeared from spot. Clang, clang, clang. Golden sword rays flashed in the air, and a series of clashing sounds rang out. The Dark Demon leader was suppressed by Mo Xiao Bai the entire time. Its body was constantly pushed back as it roared in anger. At this moment, Mu Ainen finally came back to her senses. She opened her left hand towards Mo Xiao Bai. Wisps of wind wrapped around Mo Xiao Bai's body. Instantly, Mo Xiao Bai felt his speed increase by 20%. Rare origin skill, Wind Dance Curse. Mu Ainen cast a layer of Wind Dance spell on herself and charged forward with her sword in hand. Mu Ainen's strength was already on par with the Dark Demon leader. Now, there was also Mo Xiao Bai, who was suppressing the Dark Demon leader. In just a short moment, the Dark Fiend leader had many wounds on his body. Purplish-black blood flowed out continuously. The Dark Demon leader roared again and again, but to no avail. Boom! The heavy sword, flashing with golden light, clashed with the spear wrapped in dark mist. The Dark Demon leader spat out a mouthful of blood as its body was pushed back. At that moment, a sharp green sword light swept across the Dark Demon leader's neck. Fresh blood spurted out. The Dark Demon leader's eyes widened as its vitality slowly dissipated. A shockwave blew past, and the Dark Demon leader's corpse fell to the ground with a thud. Mo Xiao Bai glanced at the Dark Demon leader's corpse and exhaled slightly. He hadn't used the most powerful move of the Sky Baron Annihilation Slash. Just the Annihilation Slash alone was slightly weaker than an epic origin skill. In addition, Mo Xiao Bai's Void origin skill, which had a 3-fold amplification. After this battle, Mo Xiao Bai discovered that he hadn't expended too much energy. Even without Mu and An's help, he could have easily killed this guy. He hadn't even used his Titan body, Martial Revelation Curse, Holy Light Enchantment, Sky Baron Annihilation Slash, or Void Sword Array. It seemed that his current combat strength was quite a bit higher than that of a rank 1 dark demon leader. Muin stared at Mo Xiaobai, who wasn't panting at all, as if she were looking at a monster. Most people with 3 orifices and 2 orifices wouldn't be able to unleash such a crazy burst of power. But this guy, he wasn't even panting. Was he even human? Mr. Mo, your strength is truly shocking. Her beautiful eyes flashed as she looked at Mo Xiaobai with a strange light in her eyes. Not only was he so handsome, but he was also so strong. Wasn't his combat strength a little too frightening? I've seen quite a few geniuses, but none of them can compare to Mr. Mo, she smiled as she spoke. This was the truth. Muin was a member of the Mu clan, after all, so she had naturally come into contact with quite a few geniuses. However, a monster like Mo Xiaobai made her question her life. When she thought about how Mo Xiaobai was a member of Natsuki, Muin felt a little sour at her heart. Mo Xiaobai saw the look in Muin's eyes and laughed dryly. That look was a little familiar. Could it be that she had taken a liking to him? There was nothing he could do about her charm. Supervisor Mu, you flatter me. He smiled, then said, let's go help the others first. Only then did Mu and then remember that the others hadn't finished fighting yet. She hurriedly nodded and went to help the others kill the dark demons. Mo Xiaobai also casually sent out a few void sword rays to help kill the dark demons. With Mo Xiaobai and Mu in and around, the remaining dark demons didn't even last a minute before they were all killed. Everyone breathed a sigh of relief, feeling a little tired. Muin looked at Mo Xiaobai and smiled. Thank you for your help, Mr. Mo. Otherwise, it would have been a little troublesome. Although she was stronger than the dark demon leader, it would have taken a lot of time to defeat it. Moreover, with so many dark demons around, the losses after the battle would have been significant. It wouldn't have been like this, where they barely suffered any losses. Although the others had been fighting before, they naturally noticed the intense battle between Mo Xiaobai and Mu and the dark demon leader. At this moment, they looked at Mo Xiaobai with strange expressions. The battle prowess of this handsome young man was too strong. You're too kind. Mo Xiaobai smiled and shook his head. Your sister Xia Tong's clansman. It's only right that I help. Mu Wen, hearing this, she felt even more jealous. However, she quickly came back to her senses and took a deep breath. Her expression was solemn. Then let's pack up and go back. If I'm not wrong, the door of the dark forest might have been opened earlier. The demons of the dark forest might attack the base. What? Attack the base? Mo Xiaobai's eyes widened, his heart trembling. He had a deep impression of the door. After all, in the blazing wilderness and the Blade Peak Mountains, he had experienced the door opening. However, so what if the door opened? As for attacking the base, seeing Mo Xiaobai's dumbfounded expression, Muin couldn't help but bitterly laugh. Is this Mr. Mo's first time in the Nightmare Void domain? No wonder. Muin's expression was unsightly as she continued. There are commander-level demons in the Nightmare Void domain. Before the door opens, send the demon hunters to kill the commander-level demons. This is because if the door opens, the commander-level demons will become even stronger. They might even gather other demons and launch a demon wave to attack the base. They want to destroy the base and take over the passage to the Void Domain. Mo Xiaobai's frown deepened. If the Void Domain is taken over, we won't be able to enter and kill the demons. The void energy here will become denser and denser. When the time comes, these demons will enter Azure through the Void Domain. Muin continued to explain. Mo Xiaobai's eyes flashed as he nodded. I understand. This was his first time in the Nightmare Void Domain. He didn't expect the commander-level demons to do such a thing. No wonder Muin's expression was so unsightly. While the two were conversing, the others had already picked up the transcendent materials. Seeing this, Muin said, let's go back. Soon, everyone returned to the base and landed at the city gate. When they arrived at the city gate to check, Captain Li, who was guarding the base, smiled. Supervisor Mu, why did you leave in such a hurry? Muin's expression was grave as she looked at Captain Li and said, Go and inform Corps Commander Lin Feng that the door might have opened early. Muinen's words caused the city gate to fall into silence. Whether it was the guards or the adventurers entering or leaving, they all stared at Muinen with wide eyes. After a moment of silence, Captain Li's mouth twitched. Supervisor Mu, this joke isn't funny. Who's joking with you? Go and inform him. Muin glared at Captain Li as the aura of her 4 orifices surged. I encountered a rank 4, rank 1 dark demon leader on the way. What? A rank 4 dark demon leader? How is that possible? Everyone cried out in surprise. Under normal circumstances, a dark demon leader would at most be at the peak of rank 3. If a rank 4 dark demon leader really appeared, clearly there was a problem. The faces of the guards and adventurers turned ugly. Captain Li's forehead was covered in cold sweat. He hurriedly said, "Please wait, Supervisor Mu. I'll inform Corps Commander Lin Feng now." As he spoke, he turned to look at the adventurers with a grave expression. You've all heard it. Something abnormal might be happening in the Forest of Darkness. Adventurers who want to go out and adventure should wait. Of course, the adventurers looked at each other and nodded. No one would joke with their lives. Captain Li nodded, then took out his communication crystal to contact their Corps commander. Not long after, a few powerful body fundamentalists ran over. The leader was a night creature elder with long gray hair and wrinkles on his forehead. He was wearing a guard's robe. After glancing at Muinen, he went straight to the point. Supervisor Mu, is what you said true? Muinen nodded. My men can testify. Also, she took out a rare gray bone that the rank 4, rank 1 dark demon leader had separated from her body. This is the transcendent material that the leader separated. It really is rank 4. Lin Feng's expression turned ugly.